Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the Season 61 Rolling Thunder Gaming All-Star Race Speedway style, as we're here at the California Speedway getting ready here for first the All-Star Open, the qualifying race that will lock a select few into the upcoming main event. And we're ready to see who is going to be those lucky chosen drivers that will get to make up the remainder of this season's All-Star field. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Jessica Shelton. And Jess, we've seen it before here. We've covered a lot of All-Star races here in RTG, whether it's on the Speedway or Super Speedway style. Obviously, we talk about the fact that there's not a whole lot on the line in terms of points, in terms of championships and this type of thing. Just an opportunity to be able to claim an all-star victory, put your name up there with those drivers that have been able to do so in the past. So there is a slight difference in racer mentality approaching these two races.
Oh, absolutely. And remember, this is just the open. This isn't the actual main yet. And you're talking about everyone coming into this event wanting to be really, really psyched up and everything. Think about this. Jeremy Jeffries is on a roll. He's won 3 championships last week. And then you got Dante with his one championship he won. Now, are they wanting to really be aggressive and win this one? Or are they just wanting to go out and have fun? This is the race in between races, or the space in between spaces, or season in between seasons. However you want to wing it and however you want to say it. Season just ended. Champions were crowned. This is supposed to be the relaxing off week before we start back up next week or the week after. And everybody just wants to win this. So they either want to win the Speedway or the upcoming Thursday Super Speedway Series. Do you want to take all of it, or do you just want to take one? This is a chance for anyone who didn't get that moment of glory from last season to get there at the end, or win the championship, or make the playoffs and had a really good season, or even someone had a bad season. This is their opportunity to make haste and actually get up there, Seth.
Absolutely. And, you talk about the fact here, a lot of drivers that are in the All-Star race, they're in the server here. They're going to be observing what's going on here. A number of them actually were out on the track taking time, turning laps in preparation for the main event. And I think they'll be very interested to see here what the All-Star Open drivers are going to do when the green flag flies and they're all in a pack. As the All-Star Open field was set by random qualifying draw. Robbie Nices is going to start on the pole position. He'll have John Godfrey to his outside. Ronald Lucey is going to make up row number 2 with Doug Hewlick. Tim Novsker and Dante Ricky, maybe a couple of drivers that we would fully expect to be in the All-Star race by now. They have to qualify their way in. They're making up row number 3. Row 4 is going to have Greg Palmer on the inside of Chuck McClure. Wiley Coates going to share the 5th row with Glenn Harris. Row 6 is going to find Colin Flick to the outside of Andre Mahjong. Looks like we're a little staggered here because obviously with the random qualifying draw, a lot of your All-Star race drivers would have been in between some of these open drivers like Terry Bombard and Mark Paglia. They'd be back in row number 7. Dave Robbins, he's going to be up on the top side of row 8. Don't think he'll have a driver to his inside there, though, is both he, along with Richard Martin, Craig Hagley, and Tom Dixon. They're going to have to start up on the outside line there. But it looks like we've got about, if my calculations are right, roughly 19, 20 drivers that are going to take the green flag here for this All-Star Open. 38 laps of racing, and a couple of things we looked at here before we came on the air. 2 times wear for these drivers, so they might have to make a pit stop in the course of this 38-lapper. Plus, as well, only 1 incident NU Park, so race hard, but race clean if you're going to make it into the main show. Green flag's in the air. Here we go at California.
Look at them scatter already.
Man, we're already stacking. That's 4 wide, going into 1.
They're not wasting any time making this exciting for us. 3 wide back here in the mid-pack too, Seth. I mean, I wouldn't know where to start at if I want to be on the bottom and try to push it and wear out my stuff. And there's someone really close to the wall. Let's see who that was. That was the 27 of Mahjong up there. And luckily, I believe it's moderate damage. So any little bit of a bump here or bump there, they should be all right for that. And that, what's your mentality here? I mean, this is California. We've raced this in Auto Club style, California style. This is grip, So would you want to stay on that bottom? Would you want to be in the middle or the top side, knowing there's a little possibility of wear and a little checkup after a while?
I think John Godfrey there, when he sailed it into turn one, kind of showed where the best line to be is. Maybe up there, maybe your left side's in that dark gray through the corner, maybe even out of that dark gray, because he was actually almost up against the wall coming off of two and was able to hold off Tim Nosker for the race lead. Obviously, as the tires wear out, that outside line is going to continue to move further and further up the racetrack. That inside line may exacerbate a tight condition, so I think you're going to see them, for the most part, at least if you're up here towards the front, you're going to take that top line. You'll force somebody to try and go to the inside line where they're not that comfortable to make a pass, but I think you want that middle to outside line that Godfrey's running right there in that LaJoie's Town Fair Tire Chevrolet Silverado.
Yeah, Tim Nosker and Greg Palmer here, side by side for a second, and I just saw the back end of Greg Palmer's truck. Why? Why does he have to do that?
Yeah, the Bordeaux Butt Pace number 22. That actually sponsored a race last night over on Tarnation TV.
I'm wondering, is that Tommy?
It is not. You know, that was the first thing that jumped to my mind as well, was when I saw Bordeaux, it was Tommy Bordeaux.
Yeah. But Nosker going as low as he was a couple laps there, trying to battle for Godfrey for that top spot, and now you see Palmer kind of ducking down there. The more that they keep doing that and trying to get to that bottom, I'm wondering if they're going to wear their tires and wear their stuff out a little bit quicker than what Godfrey's doing, because Godfrey, he's just maintaining his line, middle line, up high. They're pushing, trying to get down to that bottom, and look at everyone behind them, so pretty much close to being single file. Got a couple of double wide races going here. Side by side, someone got really close to the wall back there. I believe that was, again, Mahjong back here in the 12th position side.
Yeah, you also had Chuck McClure. He had a warp moment there through 3 and 4. They were 3 wide last time by around the Richard Martin machine. He's done a good job of working his way through the field. I think Demar started back around the 15th or 16th position. He's already up to 7th place, trying to take 6th from Ron Lucet, as we got a battle up here. 4-truck race, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Remember, top 3 advance into the all-star race, and Nosker feels he's got a fast truck. If he can get it into clean air, he's going to get alongside of Godfrey here to the completion of lap 5.
Godfrey's got that one machine of 22 by Palmer right behind him, but now Nosker got a little bit of help in Terry Bombard, so he's going to surge ahead. But then again, you got to back off a little bit, otherwise you start pushing up south, and that could be really, really a bad issue coming off that corner, because now Godfrey's going to get a little bit of a run. But it looks like Nosker's got a little bit of room to clear Godfrey.
You know, we were talking about, you were reminiscing before we came on the air here about the Super Speedway All-Star Race. We're bringing you guys coverage of that on Thursday night, as well as the open race prior. But you were talking about the All-Star win that Godfrey was able to get. Well, you look at him, you look at Greg Palmer, Tim Nosker, drivers here that have to qualify their way in. In order to make your way into this All-Star race, you have to have a victory in the past 2 seasons, I believe it is, at a Speedway on the schedule, not on a Super Speedway. All 3 of those drivers will be locked into the All-Star race on Thursday night, but they have to qualify their way in here for the Speedway race.
I didn't know it was 2. I thought it was just 1 season or a former winner would be event.
Yeah, I think it's the past 2. It might be the past 3 seasons, because as I'm looking at criteria for the drivers that are locked into the All-Star race via championships and stuff, some of them are going all the way back to season 59, seasons 59, 60, and 61. So I know at least for that it's the past 3 seasons. I don't know if it's Speedway race victories going back to season 59 or not, or if it's 60 to 61. Whoa, contact! Demar got up into Godfrey, and Godfrey's going around.
Yep, there it is, and caution will fly, Seth. And this is going to give them a chance to cool their jets, come in and get some tires and go juice, and they'll be ready to go back out there and do it again.
Good save there. A little assist from the wall for John Godfrey, but he was 2nd place when they crossed the line that last time by, and he's going to lose all that track position. I guess Demar did prove that you can work your way up here to the front as we're racing back to the caution. As stated, no frozen field cautions tonight. It's all race back, so Nosker, Terry Bombard, and Richard Martin will be the top 3 crossing the line here for the first yellow of the evening, but we'll have to see if John Godfrey, who had a very strong truck in the early going here, will be able to work his way back up into a transfer spot. At least that truck's not torn up, so he's at least got a shot in that regard. I think that thing will still be up to full speed.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's sustained much damage on what I'm looking at on my end, so I think he'll be alright, but it's just going to take some time. I mean, does the replay show him hitting up pretty hard on the truck to
I
you?
don't think so. He's going to just barely make contact with the right rear. If anything, the wall kind of helped turn his truck back around. That's a heck of a save there. I know he gets the assist from the wall, but yeah,
What's
there
he
was a
doing? Well, hold on. He's way in the back here. He's stopping. He's going down to 90 mile an hour. He's way back here, slowing down and stuff. I don't know
does he
why
have a
he's going a little
tire
slower
down
than.
maybe?
Well, let me check real quick.
Bring it back to life here. Looks like all 4 tires are up. Yeah, coming in really slow onto pit road. Not sure exactly what's going on with that machine, but he'll come down to get 4 fresh feel goods. And there's no visible damage on that car. Slight kiss to the right rear quarter panel. And he should be good to go. Nofsker, who was the leader, some pretty roomy pit stalls here at California. We'll see if Nofsker is going to win the battle off pit road. They turned, I believe it was 8 green flag laps right there on this set of tires. Looks like everybody's going for 4 freshes and maybe fill that thing up full of fuel.
And here goes Godfrey. Godfrey trying to get to his stall, but here we go. Cluster on pit road, so that's the one thing we've always talked about. And I mean, I get to thinking about this. You know, this is supposed to be an exhibition, a fun race, right? It's
Yep.
an all-star race. It's a fun race. Yeah, they're out there having fun, enjoying themselves in the technical week off or whatever. But when it comes down to it at the very end, this is no different than trying to win that championship or trying to make the playoff or trying to make the elimination race or any of that, honestly, because they all want to do it because this is like a prestigious technical win here, you know?
Well, not only
So,
that, you win this all-star race, you're locked into the next 2 seasons all-star races.
but I mean, well, the point is, this is a really special event. So anyone who says, "Well, they're just out there having fun," it's an exhibition race. Well, yeah, to begin with, then we get to the end, things change just a little bit.
Yeah, the fun goes away and the racer's mentality very quickly takes over the closer you get to that checkered flag. Now, we mentioned about the fact that in both this Open and in the upcoming All-Star race, it is a one incident and park system. Both drivers involved in that, the 43 and the 711 who made contact, both running. So I would assume admin decision would be a racing deal on that. Both drivers still going to be able to contend. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be fun to watch John Godfrey back there, see if he can work his way back up to the front. He led in the early portions of this one, led 5 laps before eventually Nofsker took the lead from him. Started this race from the outside of the front row. We know he's got a fast truck when it's out in clean air. Does he have a fast truck when he's back in traffic? And he's got time to work his way to the front as well. It's not like we're getting ready for a 5-lap shootout. We haven't even reached halfway yet here in the Open.
Real quick question: what's the so it's 38 laps here? What is it in the actual race, the main itself?
63.
63. So some of these drivers getting a feel for what could be a possibility of green flag pit stops or pit strategy going on regarding the main as well, whoever moves on from here. Because you know as well as I do, tire wear, back and forth. You know, now we talked about, Godfrey being in the back now. You got Tim Nosser leaving. He's using fuel because you gotta remember this is CTS physics test, so
Right.
it goes down a little bit faster. Chuck McClure came back into pit road that last time and topped off and everything. So I'm just really curious if there's something that they're trying to figure out regarding the main or regarding just this race in specific, because here comes like 4 or 5 of them coming back in.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all at
I'm
the back
wondering if
end,
they're
but
close because I've noticed ever since he came off of pit road and pulled up behind the pace truck, Tim Nofsker has been saving a ton. Greg Palmer has been doing the same. So it could be just a force of habit. I mean, a lot of times, even if you're good to make it on fuel, drivers will still save.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, I do as well. But at the same time, with not really knowing what the fuel number is for these guys and whatnot, they might just barely able or just barely not able to make it the rest of the way, and that's why all those other drivers towards the tail of the field thought, you know, we got nothing to lose in terms of track position. Let's come down, get that extra half lap or 1 lap of security in the fuel tank.
Absolutely. I mean, not to my own horn, but we had a little bit of fun recently when, or I think it was like 2 weeks ago, 2 weekends ago at Talladega,
Yeah.
where I was really shocked. I'm not saying that because I won the race. It's just the fact that I was able to take half can. Everyone else was like, I need a can and a half. It's like, really?
And that could be a
And I
difference
think it's
maker here in
because,
this one, too, with what they're
yeah,
saving.
but remember, I came down and topped off on that last caution that we had at that point for that series and that league. And I mean, that can work here too. It can work any chance you get. Come on down, especially if you're near the back and you ain't got too much to lose, right?
Yep. And, you know, to your point with that whole scenario, maybe these drivers can't make it the rest of the way, but if they save enough here, it could be the difference, as you pointed out, between the time spent taking a half can of fuel and the time spent taking a full can of fuel. So we'll see how that plays out here.
What are they doing back here?
Catching up, I believe.
I'm trying to figure out what Chuck, Tom, and these other guys back here are doing here.
Yeah, we've only got, looks like 14 trucks up here in this pack right at the moment, and all 18 drivers are getting ready to take the green flag here, all on the lead lap at this point in time. I got a new little mini game here for the next 3 laps or so. Mitch Bombard in our chat says, what's the over-under on the 10 of Terry Bombard hitting the wall by lap 16? He hasn't hit it yet, but we've still got a couple more laps for it to happen, I guess.
Almost 3 wide back here already. They're battling hard up there. They're side by side, several rows deep here. Looks like they're trying to figure out who's going to get this lead because it looks like Palmer might be interested in possibly taking it from Tim.
I think Tim saw that too. Kind of a little bit of an IndyCar line down the back straightaway, throwing the block on the 22, putting dirty air on the nose, going through 3 and 4, and Andre Mahjong takes a peek there for 3 wide. Between him, Bombard, and Dante Ricky. He tucks back in line. That's the battle right now for the 3rd spot going on. And remember, that is the final transfer spot into the All-Star race.
Way up the track goes the 97 machine of Colin Flick. Godfrey's going to get by. A few of the other drivers are closing in. I mean, Godfrey's only been able to make up 1 spot at this moment under the green. We've only been green for like, what, 1 or 2 laps at this point, so plenty of time for him to get up there. He's starting to close in on Craig Hagley in the 82 machine.
Grant Wesley in our chat said about 23 to 25 laps on fuel. The point that we went back green was much more than that. They went back green, I think it was with 27 to go, so it's going to be really close. That's about a lap and a half, 2 laps you're asking to save.
Someone just blinked out in front of Wiley.
Was that Kulik, I think? Yeah, I think it was the 23 of Doug Kulik. He's reappeared.
You know what I'm thinking?
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
The world may never know. Anyway, so I raced only the Super Speedway All-Star race. I'm having a lot more fun broadcasting than racing. No offense to these guys here. I enjoy broadcasting and watching this and learning from a different standpoint. So I don't have any real stress, and you know how that is. So why don't we ask someone's opinion on, you know, the racing that, you know, is going on? Someone who would actually, you know, be in the thick of everything. I mean, if he's still there, I mean, I don't know. He might still be watching. So if Grant, if you're there, say something in the chat if you want to be pulled up here, and we'll get your thoughts on things if you're still there.
Nearing halfway, got 2 more laps here before halfway point. I've been keeping an eye on the ticker here, Jess. Godfrey slowly moving his way up through. He's now up to 13th place. He's picking them off 1 by 1, so I don't think we can count him out just yet.
Absolutely not. I mean, we're at 17 of 38 at this point, so they're talking about being close on fuel, you said, for the, what, Grant told you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at Godfrey get a run on the 8 machine.
Yeah, he likes that outside. Oh, maybe a little too much.
It's nice. I mean, I'm not gonna say this very often, but I do like an 8 of Coca-Cola on that machine right there.
I do
That's
too.
really nice.
I'm still thrown off by it though, because when I think Glenn Harris, I think Krispy Kreme. I'm not used to seeing him with Coca-Cola
I saw that
sponsorship.
machine. I saw the machine. I thought it was Ron Haglund for a minute.
Yeah, I'm very confused, but I love the scheme, like you pointed out. I also love Wiley Coates' scheme. I mean, how about that? The Spider-Man mask on the hood of that machine, that's a pretty cool looking livery.
Quick question: did Grant reply in the chat?
Not yet.
Okay, so right now I guess his mind's having a little bit fun of other things at this point, but that's fine. That's okay. I just thought it'd be interesting if people wanted to pop up here and give his insight on things because it's an all-star race and you never know. I mean, this is just an open. But it's always interesting to see what an actual main racer is going to look at an open, even though they're not participating. You know, it's always interesting to see what their mind's going through.
Absolutely, and as I said, all the drivers that are already locked into the All-Star race, they're here in the server. They're watching what's going on here. They may be going on board with some drivers, watching their lines and everything. They're going to school because they want to get a little bit of an idea of what to expect in the upcoming
Hey,
All-Star race as well.
I want to bring up something real quick. Look who's running in seventh within striking distance behind Dante.
17 Chuck McClure.
And wasn't he the one that kept coming into pit road, topping off?
That's
Look
right.
where he's at right now.
Started, I believe, 16th on the restart, and last time by scored in 7th.
Yeah, he's making his way up too, Seth. I mean, and we saw, you mentioned it, that D-Mark can do it. If D-Mark can do it, anyone can as well, just depending on how much damage they got. But after that little scare from John, it looks like John's kind of, I'm trying to find where John went to. I don't see John.
Oh, wait a minute. He's not even on my
Did he
score now.
retire?
Did he retire? I think he did. Oh, he did. He parked. Oh, that's tough. I wonder if getting in the wall there might have affected his truck, and he wasn't able to move forward. He knew he wasn't going to transfer in.
You and I have had this problem before with moderate damage,
Oh,
where
yeah.
you can hit the wall, and it would feel like you hit it pretty good, and you look on your, what is it, F9, I guess, or F, whatever F button it is, and
Yep, F9.
it says no damage. You know, you're good. And you're like, okay, cool. You come into pit road, they don't do nothing, they service you like normal, you go back out there, and just the tiniest little bump or tiny little hit, just even if you don't even think that's significant enough, it'll actually say you got damage now.
Yep. And tracks like this, you look at Auto Club, you look at Michigan, tracks that rely on aerodynamics and momentum. Yeah, just that even that the slightest little hit can end up giving you just enough aero damage where you can lose 1 to 2 miles per hour on the straightaway, and that is so difficult to make up in the corners. You talk about the John Godfrey hit there off of turn 4. Depending on how bad of a hit that was, how bad of damage he sustained, that's just going to make the truck tighter off that corner every single lap, too. It doesn't get better.
Whoa, Dante a little squirrely there going to the inside of Demar. Chuck McClure going to try to follow. Chuck backs off just a tad bit as he's going to get the advantage here.
Yeah, we talked with Dante prior to the green flag, and he told us it's an unusual spot for him to have to try and qualify into an all-star race. Currently battling with Richard Martin for the 5th position, 2 spots away from a transfer spot, and
looks like he's going to back off and give it back to Demar.
I'm also looking at these drivers up here, and I don't know if you've seen anything that I haven't. I haven't seen anybody, at least up here in the top 7, 8, 9, saving fuel at all. If they are as close as I'm thinking, they are about maybe a half lap to a full lap short on fuel. I haven't seen anybody look like, at least up here in the top half of the field, look like they're trying to save that fuel here on this run.
Well, I thought I just went by someone who was clutching. I'm just going to ride with this person just to double check if he is or if he's not. I can't tell.
Transfer spot
he
under
is.
contest.
Yep. Go to the 62. Take a ride on board the 62 machine. Figure out where he's doing it.
Back in the 10th position, Ron Luce. Oh, did Nofsker get the wall right there?
A little bit.
Oh, and that's going to open up the door for Greg Palmer.
But if you ride on the 62 machine, you'll get a better understanding where he's doing it because
that's tight. Sorry to cut you off. I thought we were going to have a wreck for 2nd place there. They were almost 3 wide, and
yeah,
Bobbin
you
and
got like
Nofsker
13
almost
laps
banged doors.
to go for that. They got 13 laps to go for that.
They do. Laps are ticking away. These These drivers might be, to kind of pull a phrase from the Super Speedway racing, positioning themselves for that final pit stop, maybe feeling that second place is a better spot to pit from than third, or third is better than fourth. I don't know.
By the way, Jeremy in the in-game chat, Seth, Jeremy Jeffries has stated the top 5 will move on, not the top 3.
Okay, so there's been an amend to that. All right, so we'll have 5 drivers here moving in, which makes things interesting now because we were seeing as if it was the top 3 racing their way in with just how aggressive they were. Second place on back. Now, Demar would be the last driver in a transfer spot as they currently run, along with Andre Mahjong, Tim Knofsker, Terry Bombard, and your now new race leader, Greg Palmer.
And the 62 machine's still doing it, Seth. I mean, I don't know if you took a moment to ride on board the 62 machine, let people understand where he's doing it at and how he's doing it. But I don't know if I could actually do that at this track, especially with so much on the line, being as far back as I am with so little laps to go, because we're almost to the 10 lap to go mark.
Also heard from Andrew Miller, who we're going to see in the All-Star race later on tonight. And I just saw it right there. The 43 of Richard Martin is clutching. And that actually just clutched him out of 5th place because Chuck McClure went around him. So now Chuck would be in the final transfer spot. Question for you here, Jess. With the way they're racing, if we get ourselves a yellow flag, are we coming to pit road for tires, or are we staying out keeping the track position and just trying to save the fuel to get to the end? We'll get to that question in a minute here. Knofsker now to the inside of Terry Bombard for the 2nd spot. Knofsker has led 19 laps so far here tonight. John Godfrey, who led in the early stages, 5 laps out of the race. And Greg Palmer has led the last 4.
I got some insight from at least one of the drivers over on the other private communications here. Whoa, Palmer's starting to block Knofsker now, ain't he? About that time. Well, here's what you were saying about if a caution came out. Whoa, Chuck backed off. I thought Dante was going to run the back of him.
I think he had to back off. I think Knofsker took a very shallow entry in there and he backed off.
If I'm way at the back and there's a caution comes out, I'm coming in and getting 4 tires.
Okay.
No question. If I'm up near the front like these guys are up here, if I'm second and third, I probably want to do the opposite of what the leader does, is what I was hearing from other personnel, that they would probably do the opposite of what the leader does. But at the same time, for me, I don't know. I mean, if like 3 or 4 people come in, yeah, I might come in as well, depending on how many laps we got going to the end. So, but right now, you got about 9 laps to go. I don't know. I'm depending on how bad my tires are, I actually might stay out.
You've given up a lot of track position, but I'm looking at lap times compared to fastest lap times run, and everybody in the field right now is running nearly 8 to 9 tenths slower than they did at the beginning on fresh tires. So you're looking at almost a full second that you would gain on fresh tires. Question is, though, how many positions would you have to make up on those fresh tires to get into a transfer spot? Of course, it's all relative. It would mean nothing if we don't have a caution here, which we're, 8 laps to go from the finish of this race, and it's hard to tell who's in a transfer spot because they're stacked up double wide, second place on back to around 9th.
Coming out of pit road. So Wiley took a little bit of a pit stop there, Seth, so there's an option to think about with him, with the option if they have to pit, which
Interesting.
I'm wondering.
I'm going to check and see. I don't know. Did he go a lap down, or did he manage to stay on the tail end of the lead lap? Gotta wait for scoring to update here, because if he didn't go a lap down, oh man, we're making contact back here with Palmer and
You keep
McClure.
looking at that, I'll let you know when the scoring updates. Yes, he went a lap down.
He did. Okay, because I was going to say, if he was on the tail end of the lead lap, that would have been a big brain move, because then he would definitely stay out if a caution came out. Oh, they are not giving a lot of room now. Dante Ricky to the inside of Greg Palmer. McClure's gotten clear into second. Again, remember, as Jess said, it's not the top 3 anymore. It's the top 5 transfer in. So here's that battle for the final transfer spot. Terry Bombard on the top. Andre Mahjong on the bottom. Ford versus Dodge. Near
Dante
contact
pushing
in
up.
front of them.
Need to be careful. That's going to open that door for Andre to go down there below Dante if he ain't careful.
And throw a blanket over the top 11. They've all still got a shot at this thing because they're all within striking distance of that 5th place spot.
A quick question for you, Seth. You said that they're running how many tenths slower right now?
Well, that last time by, everybody in the field ran 9 tenths slower than their fastest lap.
All right, so with you saying that, what you think? Tires or no tires? Will you stay out for you, knowing what the tires can do at this point?
Depends on how many drivers stayed out ahead of me.
Aha, see, now it's on the other side of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, if I have like 2 or 3 drivers stay out ahead of me, then probably I'm coming in. If I have the whole field stay out in front of me, then I don't know about that.
All right, so now we're looking at battle for 5th. Right now, Terry Bombard has 5th, and that's the transfer spot. You got Andre on the outside of Doug Hewlett trying to make something work on there. Terry's backing up just a little bit. I don't know if Doug's looking, Seth, but he's got that power from Andre to bump him. So Terry currently is going to stay in that position, but I don't know how much more longer they're going to ride. There goes Andre right there for it.
Nice little cut down there in front of Doug Hewlett. Crosses to try to get to the inside Terry Bombard. Bombard slams the door.
Doug. Greg Hadley up top, 3
Oh,
wide.
man, how about that? Big run out of the 32. I'm sorry, the 82 up on that top side there.
Here comes the 62 of Ronald Luzier right behind the 23 machine, Seth.
And we have to assume that
Whoa!
probably Ronald's good to make it on fuel now. He was clutching in the early going. Same for Richard Martin, so they might be in full attack mode at this point.
Contact with Hagley and Ronald.
Good save by both those drivers.
Luzier looking to the inside, trying to figure out where he wants to go.
And this is all battling for 6th place. Terry Bombard about a car length ahead of this in the final transfer position.
Seth, we're coming to 3 to go at this line.
96, I think, just saw Dave Robbins hit pit road, so he couldn't make it on fuel. I don't see how Nofsker can make it unless he saved a ton under that last caution period, because he has led 24 laps in this race.
Well, maybe he's banking for that caution.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, honestly, if I was in that spot, I'm not going to lie, based on what I've seen in this series, how aggressive things can be, I might actually have done the same thing that Tim's doing. I might stay out and help for that caution.
Dante Ricky going to charge around the outside for 3rd on Greg Palmer through 3 and 4. Oh, Tim's coming in. Greg's coming in. They couldn't make it. Coming to 2 to go. 2 of your 3 previous race leaders could not make it, and Chuck McLaurin inherits the lead.
Right 23 into 62.
And they saved it again. Dave Robbins coming off of pit road.
Can you feel how exciting this is?
Oh,
this is
man.
the All-Star race. This is not the All-Star race. This isn't the All-Star race.
This is just the qualifier.
This is the Open.
We haven't even gotten to the main show yet. This is the appetizer. Can Chuck make it? Is he going to have to come to pit road? Or does he have enough fuel to make it another 2 miles? Looks like everybody in this group's staying out.
White flag here, Seth.
And here's your transfer spot battle. Ron Lucey versus Doug Hewlett for 5th place. Oh, are we going 3, maybe 4 going into turn 1?
Sure, why not? Why not? There's nothing to worry about right now, right?
My goodness. Oh, Lucey is going to get spun by Terry Bombard. Doesn't matter. White flag was out. We're racing back.
Demar is in the 5th position, Seth.
And now he's got Hagley on his back bumper for the final transfer spot. Chuck McClure, a car length in hand over Dante Ricky.
You notice how much speed Demar just found at the last second to try to close right up? It's like, okay, I'm just going to ride around. I'm going to close up. I don't want to lose this position at all.
Chuck McClure, he's going to win the All-Star Open to transfer in. Dante Ricky in 2nd. 3rd place will go to, I believe, Andre Mahjong, who might have ran out of fuel across the line. No, he didn't even get 3rd. He got 4th because Hewlett passed him at the line. Mahjong does get 4th, and Richard Martin will get the 5th spot. And I think a couple of drivers, I think they're gasping for fuel right now. They just barely made it.
Gasping for breath.
Oh, my goodness. I'm gasping for breath.
That was great, and if you thought
Wow!
that was great, just wait till the Open
Oh
gets
my
over and then the
goodness.
main starts. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be starting to focus right now based on what they just saw regarding fuel mileage at the very beginning of the race, or if they're just going to wait for it to play out and see what happens toward the end of the race. I mean, that was certainly a big turn of events at the very end of that. So
Who had a fuel mileage race for just the All-Star Open, the qualifying race on their bingo card? I certainly didn't. And Chuck McClure crossed the line under power. Does he have enough fuel to be able to maybe do a little burnout here? The pace truck might get in his way of the celebration. But how about that?
hey, can you do me a favor, Seth? Can you move Dante up here? Dante said he's free for a couple minutes.
Okay, give me 1 second here. We gotta wait till the burnouts here, and then I'll bring up the post race wind down overlay, or if we even get a burnout. Does he have enough fuel for a burnout? Or is he just gonna park it there in the start finish line? Looks like we're just going to park it on the start finish line for celebrations. So Chuck McClure with the victory. Let's quickly also show you the full finisher results from this All Star Open. Your top five transfer in: McClure, Ricky, Hewlick, Mahjong, and Martin. Craig Hagley. I think Hagley might have run out of fuel between 3 and 4 because he got gapped quite a bit there on that final lap. Ronald Lucet, maybe the same, or no, Lucet was the one that got spun by Terry Bombard. Glenn Harris and Terry also miss out. All the rest of the drivers that finished a lap down couldn't make it on fuel. How about Tim Nofsker leading 25 laps and he's not going to make it? Greg Palmer, who led 5 laps and was up in the top 3 pretty much all night long, is not going to make it. All because they didn't have the fuel to get to the conclusion. The dominant trucks of the night not going to be taking part in this all-star race.
And that's what happens in this race, Seth. That dominance not always one that wins us.
Well, you think the Cup drivers are taking note? I think that's something they're going to be jotting down in their handy dandy notebook about that fuel window, and maybe you're going to want to save quite a bit during the course of a
So
run.
are you saying that they might have found a clue? A clue.
A clue. I think they found a lot of clues in that last run to the finish.
All right.
All
So
right.
how about we bring up the second place guy in the '84 machine, Dante Ricky? What you say, Seth?
All right, let's see if we can dial up that Canada Dry Toyota.
Buddy was moved to
Dante,
your
Justin,
channel.
Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hello. Oh goodness.
I'll
Oh
tell
yes.
you what, we were not expecting it to come down to fuel like that. Obviously, you drivers had the numbers in front of you, but did you know it was going to be that close when you guys took the green?
Well, we weren't necessarily thinking. I knew it was going to be a close cut at the end. I will say this: there was a clear difference between me and Chuck McClure. Chuck topped off and pitted on that caution. I only pitted the first time. I didn't top off. What saved me was running behind Richard Martin, and he was clutching quite a bit from fifth, sixth place. I rode in about sixth in the pack for a while, and I told Chuck, "Hey, look, Chuck's a great driver. He was running real tight because he didn't have to save as much for say." And I told him, "Look, they're checking up. It's gonna be one of those deals where, let alone when somebody hits the clutch and you got somebody right on your bumper, you can't just lift off the gas pedal because you'll end up getting either run over or you'll run over the guy in front of you." So it was kind of a risky situation. We tell all of our drivers to be real mindful not to use clutches with people right behind you. So I put the pressure on Demar a little bit and shook him around, and I went to go race with Greg. Greg and Tim were up front for most of that run, so they were kind of in a bad spot. They had to pit, but that's the way this strategy works out. I think it's worth mentioning here before we get any further. This is I've been here a while, and I don't race as often as I used to. This is the first time that I've ever had to participate in the Speedway All Star Open, and I definitely felt the pressure, to say the least. We may be able to correct that situation, but part of it is the way that we have our Speed Freak structured to be a super speedway qualifying series, even though we use large tracks. And this is a large track that we run on Tuesday, let alone the race wins from the Speed Freaks are counting. So drivers who win races, I believe, in the Speed Freaks are still getting counted for the big race tonight. But those who win the championship in that are getting counted for Thursday. And unfortunately, this year, I'm not going to make it on Thursday due to work. But that's the way it goes, and it'll be a lot of fun tonight. Boy, I think I've confused you. That was just a lot of fun. I mean, it was enjoyable to a sense of the pressure and just making sure that I could get up through the gears and stay with the pack and really get the job done. Second place, winning the race would have been nice, but let alone we got to do it all again here in a few minutes.
Yeah, and obviously, you've got the All-Star race coming up here. You've had the opportunity to be out there in race conditions for 38 laps. So, not quite double the amount of laps, but obviously a much longer event. Obviously, there's probably got to be some takeaways from this one that you're now ready to apply in the upcoming one. Do you feel it gives you an advantage over those other drivers that are already locked into the All-Star race and are getting ready to head out there and pack race for the first time tonight?
I have to be brutally honest. I think the people who ran the Speed Freaks race last week at California, they're the ones who are going to have a little bit more of an edge in the sense that this is the truck mod. It's a little bit different, and I do have those race trim conditions. I'm going to politely decline and say no. This is going to be a very level playing field tonight, and I hate to be that brutally honest, Seth, but there's a lot of good drivers here that really work hard, come out to win. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, they obviously had the opportunity as well to observe what you drivers were doing out there, so probably they were writing, jotting down some notes in preparation for this upcoming All-Star race. But congratulations, well done, Dante, on transferring your way in, finishing second in a wild finish here in just the qualifying open race in preparation for the All-Star
Oh
race.
yes.
Hopefully, we end up maybe talking to you later, finishing up there in victory lane, get another podium finish here in back-to-back races during this All-Star race this evening. Before we let you go, though, and get prepared for that upcoming All-Star race, floor is yours for thank you,
Oh,
sponsors, and shoutouts.
the big thank yous tonight have to go to David Cannon and Sean Prime for putting this show on. I mean, you guys are amazing, and Jeremy Jeffries for helping me direct things tonight to get the events all set up and do the tallies. Just amazing people. That's the big thank you for tonight. I did yell at both of them because they were whispering reactions during the race, and I really apologize for that. But they also understand that I'm a competitor and a fierce one. And if I wasn't, that wouldn't drive my passion, and that's what brings me back every night. So thank you to you guys for putting this on and making it such an important environment, such a great place to race.
Dante Ricky, that Canada Dry Toyota Tundra, second place here tonight. He's going All-Star racing here in just a few minutes. So good job on the run here in this All-Star Open. Best of luck here
Thanks,
in the
Seth.
upcoming
Thanks,
main event.
Jess. All right, enjoy.
Let's see if we
Buddy
can.
was
They're
moved out of
currently
your
in
channel.
a 10-minute practice session here in preparation for the All-Star race, getting everybody situated, all the All-Star drivers out on the track now. We're going to go down and see if we can get a word with our race winner from the Open, Chuck McClure, and then based on how much time we've got left, we'll try and see if we can get our
I'm back.
top five
Sorry.
transferees. No, you're all good. We're getting ready to talk with Chuck McClure, the
User was
All-Star
moved to
Open
your
winner.
channel.
Chuck, it's Justin Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
How you doing, guys?
Well, the call of the Open, you coming down pit road, topping off that fuel tank at the 1 to green. You had enough fuel to get to the end. You take the checkered flag in that one, but did you expect it was going to come down to that much of a nail-biter finish in just the qualifying race?
No, I did not. And honestly, when I got in that race, I looked at the quality of people in there and I thought, I don't even have a chance. But luckily, I got a speeding penalty on pit road and might as well get out and top it off and see what happens. And it worked out for us.
Chuck, I mean, congratulations on winning the Open, but now that you're in the actual main event, how much do you take from what you did in the Open moving forward to the actual main regarding pits, the tire wear, what line you want to run, and what you've noticed and what you've learned from the Open?
There's a lot to take in. I don't run this track very often, and any knowledge I can get is key. And I learned a lot. Tire wear, like you said, fuel mileage. Just again, the line I want to take, where guys are going to lift, where I think I can take them, and how soon I'm going to wear my stuff out. So yeah,
Well,
it was a big lesson.
well, with now, from what if I remember correctly, Seth, you said this is going to be times 3 wear now for the
Correct.
main.
Yep.
How would you approach your tire strategy at this point, Chuck? Would you be thinking that you're going to be backing off, relaxing, saving a little bit more, or do you think this is going to be go be aggressive, get up near the front, and try to stay up at the front early, and maybe wear some of that tire out?
Well, beginning of the race, maybe I'll just see where I shake out, and maybe I'll just see how hard I can push at the beginning. After that, I'll have a better gauge of what I can and can't do. But I like the 3 times pit wear. It's more fun, I think.
Got one last question for you here, Chuck, because we saw a couple of drivers didn't get the benefit of good starting track position in that random qualifying draw, and they were able to work their way up into the top 5, top 7, something like that after starting outside of the top 10. I know you obviously had the benefit of having a little bit more fuel on that last restart, but we also saw even prior to that you were able to work your way forward. Is track position optimal here at this racetrack, or does the draft take care of that and allow you to be able to move your way forward?
I believe the draft lets you keep up. Track position is very important, especially in this race. These guys are top notch in this race coming up. Not that the other guys weren't, but these guys are in the All Star race for a reason. So, yeah, this is going to be tougher.
Well, one check on the list. You lock yourself into the All-Star race with the win the All-Star Open. Congratulations on that. Maybe here tonight we'll get to see you pull the doubleheader and get both the Open and the All-Star race. Good luck in that. Before we let you go, though, and get set for that All-Star race, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Well, I appreciate everybody here at admin putting this, or all the admins here at RTG putting this on. This is awesome. They really do go above and beyond to take care of us. We try to in turn make them race harder and with higher talent. But yeah, this is all about the admins and the drivers tonight and just having fun.
Well, Chuck McClure, he's your winner in the All-Star Open. He's locked into the All-Star race. We'll wait to see where he ends up qualifying, and he'll be able to transfer it into an All-Star race victory here this evening at Auto Club. Congratulations on the great run, the thrilling finish, and the great pick call there in the closing stage of the Open, and best of luck here in the main event.
I appreciate it.
User was
All right, we
moved
got about
out of
2
your
minutes left. I
channel.
think we got time to be able to grab third place finisher. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of our transferees, which I apologize for, but let's see if we can dial up that 23 car, Doug Hewlick.
User was
Hey,
moved
Doug,
to
Justin
your
Seth up here in
channel.
the FRM booth. You got us?
Hey, buddy, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. I'll bet you're doing better, though. You're going all-star racing here, transferring in that third spot, but man, it came down close on fuel. Saw a lot of drivers starting to run out. A lot of the front runners had to pit in the closing stages. How close were you if you were able to go another extra lap, or was that the last lap that you had left in the tank?
Well, I started around lap 13 and it was like, splash. It never went to none. And then, you get to a certain point, it's like, hey, you just got to go for it because, you're going to make that last lap. You just don't know when it's going to run out. And she started to sputter, probably coming out of 4 on that last lap. So I made it.
How dare you ask him that question, Seth? How dare you ask him? He was just hoping he could get to the front and lead and come in on pit road and win the race off like he did at Talladega.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, that wasn't
Why
going to
not?
happen tonight. I was shocked when those 2 front runners pitted that they were that low.
Yeah.
I think
So,
Palmer pitted, and who else pitted with him?
It was Nofsker.
Nofsker and Palmer, yeah.
That was a shocker. I was like, great, that's 2 positions I don't have to battle.
Hey, Doug, out of curiosity here, you had a real time in the mid-pack dealing with a lot of movement, with a lot of people battering around the back bumper of you and checking up in front of you and all. How much aggravation or switching in your mindset of how you have to approach the next corner with everything going around you is that? I mean, like, do you have to sit there and say, well, these guys are checking up in front of me, I have to I'm just going to sit here and ride with them and keep dealing with what I'm dealing with, even though it's aggravating me? Or do you possibly take that next corner a little bit different because of the stack up that you're seeing on the bottom or mid line here?
Well, during a little bit of that run, I had Craig Hagley behind me, and he's always solid. And I don't know if he knew I was lifting as much as I was. Getting into the corner a couple times, you got to pick that outside line. I think I passed like 2 or 3 people on the outside because it was just bottlenecking on the bottom, and I have pretty good confidence I could run the outside and keep the momentum up coming off, especially off of 2. And that seemed to work for me. But yeah, checking up and, it's just a game, and, you're just trying to avoid. I swore I was in the 17s bumper once or twice. I know that. and I actually hit the brakes a couple times really hard to just not wreck somebody.
Well, good luck to you in the main. Seth, if you got anything else, they just kicked
Nope,
it
I
back.
believe they're
I believe
going the
practice
drivers meet for
the
the
meeting.
All-Star drivers. So we'll let you go there, Doug, and hopefully we get to talk to you later on here tonight. Maybe to get this 23 in Victory Lane.
Doug, it's a speedway, not a plate track. Just remember that when you come to the end of this.
Okay. Hey, shout out to my family, my son Nolan, my daughter Bailey, my wife up there sleeping off the double shift she did yesterday, and love to all you guys.
Doug Kulik, third place in the All-Star Open. He's ready to go All-Star Racing. Best of luck, Doug.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
User was
All
moved
right.
out
Also,
of
a
your
shout out
channel.
to Andre Mahjong and Richard Martin. We didn't have time here during this mid-race break in between the Open and the All-Star race to be able to talk with them. Maybe we get to talk with them in the upcoming All-Star race finishing order. Maybe they'll be up inside the top three. Maybe one of them in victory lane. But it's interesting just because I asked the first question, the normal question of, you raced here in the All-Star Open, now what do you apply in the All-Star race? And I thought to myself, that's a stupid question because in terms of fuel, it's completely different, 2x to 3x. So you can't rely on anything you did back in the Open in terms of fuel saving here in this All-Star race.
No, you can. And excuse me, I'm trying to look for me a candy bar or something.
I got me some custard, and it's not cold custard.
Hershey Symphony. There we go.
Ah.
Yeah. What I wanted to say to you real quick, Seth, I was just on the track for a few laps. I don't know how many laps I ran, but I ran enough to know I actually like how it feels with 3x a lot more than what I liked with 2x. And
Really?
honestly, the tire wear was there. The tire wear went a little bit further. The right front was wearing a little bit quicker than the I think it was like 80% or 85 around that area with the right front. So tires are going to wear out a little bit quicker, but the handling was fine. I actually enjoyed that.
Be interesting to see if the drivers here in pack racing, if they're going to be enjoying it with that little bit of extra wear, and obviously a lot more consummation in the fuel tank in preparation for what's going to be a 63 lap event here for the All-Star race. Now, they're currently in qualifying. Going to take the opportunity here in this qualifying session to document the drivers that were already locked in coming into this race and the criteria that got them into this. Obviously, the criteria is you have to be a former champion of a Speedway-based series in the last 3 seasons or have a victory at a Speedway in, I believe, the last 3 seasons as well, going back to seasons 59, 60, and 61. So Jeremy Jeffries, obviously, we've seen what he's been able to do in Speedway Series, even here in Season 61, the Season 61 Barebones Champion, the Season 61 Barebones Eliminator Champion, and also the Season 61 Lightning Truck Series Champion. So he's got a little bit of an edge here in terms of these trucks here tonight. He also got in being the All-Star winner back in 2022. He was the Season 59 Aero 88 Eliminator Series champion and was the defending champion of the Barebones Racing Series back in Season 60 as well. Had 22 Speedway victories coming into tonight. Grant Wesley, he was the All-Star race winner last time out. He has 10 Super Speedway victories as well. Jeff Supta, 24 Speedway victories. He was the champion in Season 60 of the Aero 88 Series, as well as the Eliminator champion for the Lightning Truck Series this previous Season 61. Brian Schilling, he has 17 Speedway victories. He was the Barebones champion back in Season 59, the Season 59 Aero 88 champion, and the Season 60 Barebones Eliminator champion. JT Mayhew, if I'm not mistaken, I believe one of his 2 Speedway victories took place right here at Auto Club or California, whichever you want to call it. He was also the Season 59 Barebones Challenger Champion and the Season 59 Aero 88 Challenger Champion. Josh Metallic, he's got 8 Speedway victories. He was also the Season 59 Barebones Royale Champion. Dave Melson, he's got 1 Speedway victory. He was also the Season 59 and Season 60 Pinty's Champion. Kelly Causey, he's locked in via being a 1-time Speedway winner. Sean Prime, 3 victories at a Speedway. Doug Cady, he's in via the Season 60 Barebones Challenger Champion. Frank Rivard, he's got a Speedway victory that locks him in. Andre Charest, He was the Season 60 Aero 88 Challenger Champion and the Season 61 Barebones Challenger Champion. Rodney Sullins gets in via a Speedway victory. Andrew Miller, a two-time Speedway winner. Ron Hagelin and Jovan Anderson, both with one Speedway victory apiece. And Bob Dixon, the last driver that was locked in to the All-Star race, the Season 61 Lightning Truck Series Challenger Champion. Of course, they're joined by the 5 drivers that transferred earlier on tonight in the Open. Those drivers being Chuck McClure, Dante Ricky, Richard Martin, Doug Hulick, and Andre Mahjong. So we should have as many as 22 drivers here tonight. There might be a couple that weren't able to make the event, but a maximum of 22 drivers locked themselves into this season's All-Star race.
Are they actually qualifying?
They are actually qualifying in this one, yep.
All right, well, gotta ask you something. With that list, that caliber of accolades that you just ran down, makes me wonder something, Seth. Does Grant hold the horseshoe tonight, or does he actually give it to someone else?
Well, we know that Grant has a horseshoe. He has the original golden horseshoe. We know that Jeremy Jeffries thought he had the original golden horseshoe, but we found out it was a copy that works just about as well. And there's probably somebody in a dark alley that is selling replica golden horseshoes on the black market, and some of these drivers might have purchased one. So I don't know.
I have a question. Do you want to get a quick interview before we go racing? Because we got like 4 minutes left before they go. Or do you just
I think we got time. Who do you want to grab?
Let's see. Why don't we grab the trifecta champion, Jeremy Jeffries, for a few moments?
All right, let's see if we can get a hold of him here.
User was
Hey,
moved
Jeremy,
to your
Jess and Seth
channel.
up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I do. How you guys doing?
Doing good. All right, so 3 championships on the season. And now getting ready to try and pick up yet another All-Star race. You took this event back in 2022. You had the opportunity to be able to observe all of what went down in that All-Star Open. Were you able to take any notes in preparation for this one?
I know how far they could have went on fuel with 2X, but unfortunately this race is 3X, so I don't know if I really learned a lot. But God, that was a great race. That was fun to watch.
Hey, Jeremy, I got a question.
Sure.
How badly do you want this one? How bad do you want this on your resume of getting another All-Star win to your already accoladed setting of, oh, I won this championship, I won this championship, I won this championship, with the golden horseshoe, mind you, off to the side, duplicate and wink. So, how bad do you want the All-Star win?
You know, I told them in the driver's meeting we did it. I just want a good race. I don't care if I win this one or not. You know, when I get in the car, it might obviously be different. But you know, I just want to put on a good show. I told them, I was like, it's gonna be hard to top that first one, but we got to try.
Well, do you have any like goals for this All-Star race, or are you setting yourself up mainly for the Super Speedway one on Thursday, or does it not matter either way? Just have fun and enjoy yourself and let the chips fall. If you don't get it, who cares? I mean, you were wanting that championship over in Tally Challenge for a long time. I don't know if that's something you're wanting for the All-Star one or not.
You know, like you said, I think 2 years ago I won the All-Star race. So, you know, this is just to have fun. Last week was stressful. The entire week I was stressed out, especially about Thursday. And, you know, this is cool. Just come out here, do something, have fun, and not worry about it. You know, what happens, happens.
So now that you've seen that open race, you've seen how they backed up in the corners and whatnot and where they were running at, and you've been on the track getting a little bit of practice here and there. Is this a track where you're very comfortable at? Like we heard Chuck said that, I believe it was Chuck that said that he didn't have a lot of time on this track to the point where he was very extremely comfortable, like you know, like overall. I mean, is this a track that you come to often, that you actually enjoy, that you like? Do you know where you're wanting to run at the whole race and stuff, or what?
Yeah, I think we ran this track at least 2 times during the regular season, different series. It was actually the finale last week on Tuesday when Dante won the championship. So we've seen it a lot. Pretty comfortable. I thought I was faster than I was. I qualified 8th, so got to figure out what I did wrong there. But yeah, anybody that runs these series on a regular basis has seen this track quite a bit.
It's interesting that you bring that up because, you know, you're coming into this race as the defending winner of the Lightning Truck Series, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night all run CTS Physics, so they're all the same. However, the mod and maybe even the hitbox is slightly different. With being the defending champion of the series that ran with these trucks, do you feel like that gives you an advantage in terms of comfort, knowing what you're able to do in terms of space, in terms of hitbox, in terms of you know, coming to pit road, the kind of space availability there? Do you think that gives you a slight advantage over some of the other drivers?
I mean, some of these guys that normally run super speedways, maybe, but pretty much everybody that made it into this all-star race has run these trucks at one point or another. So should be pretty much familiar with it. And those guys that ran the open, those are the ones I'm going to be watching out for because they know how this thing drives and how the tires wear, and it's fresh in their mind. So we'll see how they do. And I might need to follow somebody like Dante for a while, or Chuck, or whoever.
Well, it's the end session. We got about 20 seconds or so left. Quick question: do we know where Mr. Kelly Causey is and Mr. JT Mayhew is tonight? I mean, I thought they were in, but I don't see them.
I do not know, but we counted on a couple of guys not showing up just from not seeing them show up or hear anything. So that's why we ended up going from 3 to 5.
All right.
People moving on.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Well, Jeremy, we'll let you get to it here. Looking forward to seeing what you're able to do here tonight. Maybe add another accolade into your already extensive resume. Maybe be a 2-time All-Star
Yep,
Speedway
he's got the
winner.
golden horseshoe.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been still trying to scour the internet, see if they're selling duplicates on the black market. I don't know if they've done it just yet, but I feel like there's a lot of customers waiting in line. So hold on to that original. Don't let it go.
I think it might have got knocked out Saturday night.
Oh, no. Well, Jeremy, best of luck here in the upcoming All-Star race, and maybe we'll talk to you later on here tonight.
All right. Thank you. You all have a great broadcast.
User was moved out
All
of
right,
your
so
channel.
Jeremy Jeffries, as you heard, going to be gritting up from 8th place. Josh Metallic claimed the pole position in this one. Jeff Supta going to be on the outside of the front row. Andrew Miller in the 47, going to line up in 3rd. I'm trying to remember back the other track. I know he's got a Dover victory that locked him into this All-Star race. I'm trying to remember where the other track was. I think it might have been a Canadian Tire. It might have been a road course. I don't know if road courses actually count towards locking you into the All-Star race for the Speedway side or not.
You know, my feelings are already hurt. Okay, just get through the qualifying and just ignore the 18th and the 22nd.
Okay. So 4th place is going to be Frank Rivard. 5th place going to be Richard Martin. He was the last driver to transfer in via the All-Star Open. Ronnie Sullins will line up the outside of him in 6th. Dante Ricky, who was 2nd in the All-Star Open, he'll be P7. Jeremy Jeffries, who we just talked with, P8. Andre Mahjong, he was 4th in the All-Star Open. He'll share the 5th row with Grant Wesley. Row 6 going to find Andre Charest. He'll have our All-Star race winner, Chuck McClure, to his outside. Doug Kulik, who finished 3rd in the All-Star Open. He's going to share the next row with Dave Melson. And then it will be Bob Dixon on the inside of Ron Hagelin. Brian Schilling and Doug Cady look like they will make up the final row for this one. Looks like we had 18 drivers that took the All-Star Open green flag. Looks like we'll have close to a similar number here for the All-Star race.
Good thing is you didn't mention who qualified 18th and 22nd. Thank you. Makes me feel a little bit better about myself.
I mean, it was random qualifying draw for the drivers that didn't take time. You realize if Flatcaster had been in here, he would have out-qualified them all.
No, I'm not Michael Norman. You can't do this to me.
Flatcaster beats all 3 of us, though. You, me, and Michael.
Anyway, getting back to reality here.
This is reality. Flatcaster's a legend.
Shush, silence. I will wreck you. Anyway, we're about to go green here, coming off of 1 and a 3, almost about to come off 4. Seth, most of these drivers in this, we've seen a lot of broadcasts with a lot of these drivers up in the front. So I don't know what to expect here. We got souped up near the front. We've seen souped up near the front as well. I mean, most of the time Super has bad luck, so hopefully this luck will pay off being up here with Metallic as they take the green flag.
Green flag in the air. Yeah, you talk about bad luck. Josh Metallic, I think he doesn't want to remember back to last Wednesday night in that finale for the Lightning Truck Series, the doubleheader that they had. He had a shot after the first race of winning that championship, got caught up in some late race theatrics, and ended up DNFing and losing said championship. Maybe looking for a little bit of redemption climbing back behind the wheel of that number 39 Caterpillar Chevrolet, but Jeff Supta says, no. He crosses the inside. He wants to lead the first lap of the All-Star race tonight.
Well, is he gonna get his wish? You're so side by side. It looks like Supa's gonna edge him out at the line here and grab that one little extra incentive over Josh Metallic at this moment. But Metallic running that middle to high line stuff, I mean, it just seems like that's gonna get a huge run off the exit of the corners.
Yeah, this track, from what I was able to observe from the All-Star Open, you can drive it deep and gain a lot of ground on the inside going into the corner, but man, that middle to outside line gets a massive run from the center off, so it kind of evens it up and keeps these drivers stacked up all the way through the field. We saw that near the closing stages of the All-Star Open before they started dropping like flies with fuel problems. They were stacked up, second place back through about ninth double file, and we're seeing here almost the same type of thing at the front, but there's that advantage on the top side there with Metallic and Frank Rivard from turn 4 onto the front straightaway going to turn 1. High line advantage, and Metallic clears back for the top spot.
Well, when you go in these corner stuff, I mean, from what I was experiencing, how I usually drive it, you go in that corner, you relax for a moment, and then out of nowhere, it feels like it wants to catch, like you go really slow in the corner, just barely let off just a little bit, half throttle or 3/4 of the throttle going in the corner, all the way down there. You feel it kind of like catch, like a little piece of grip, and then you gas it, and then it just lets you pull right up on that high side. That's what Josh Metallic looks like he's enjoying doing right here. Going in there, like maybe 3/4 throttle right there, lets it catch right about there, and just hits the gas and just drives it on up the track and pulls away just a little bit. And we saw the machine of Frank Rivard there get a little bit squirrely that last lap. You reckon they're trying to push it a little bit too early? Like I mean, it looks like he's pushing it pretty hard.
Well, you know, I'm kind of wondering if maybe you want to push it hard, because I was just doing some math in my head. Yeah, I can't believe I'm doing math. But as we look at a 3-wide battle here with McClure and Martin, a couple of our All-Star Open transferees. But remember, with 3 times wear, they went about 23 to 25 laps on 2X. If they went to 4X, that would be split in half to about 12 to 13 laps, which means I got these guys about 18 to 19 laps on a tank of fuel. Why not push it hard in the early going? Try and get all that track position you can, because it's not going to be all that long before you're going to have to make the dive onto pit lane for fuel.
Wait. What did you say with times 3?
I think 18 to 19 laps, right?
Times 4 real quick.
Times 4 would, I would think, if times 2 is 20 to 25, 23 to 25, then half that with the times 4, you're looking at 12 to 13. So you add on an extra 6 laps there for the times 3.
You know. I was about to call you out on that, and then I realized I raced super speedways on times 4. Oops.
Andrew Miller holding court.
Different scenario there, not like.
Yeah, a little bit, slight bit.
Just a few laps, right?
Slightly different in the way you race it.
I was about to say, Seth, what race are you looking at? I mean, plate track, Seth. I was going to say plate track. I'm like,
whoa,
Grant
Brent!
Wesley!
And he's going to catch Dante Ricky as well. Caution's going to
out.
fly, and I think both are going to relatively just go for a harmless spin in the grass.
And they took the caution. I think Josh was actually after the line, but they went ahead and took it because Pace truck's out. Metallic leads them back to that, and I think I don't understand. I think maybe just a little side tap from Wesley or something made him go
Wesley
around,
got a
and then
bump
Dante
from
was right behind him.
I don't know who was behind him, but I think someone gave him a little bump, and it unsettled the truck, spun him down, and he eventually caught the nose of Dante Ricky. I couldn't tell. I was so focused on the 80, I couldn't tell who it was that actually might have given him the little tap.
Turn 3. Yeah, he was really close to the wall, Seth, and Andre Mahjong barely got in the back of him, which caused him to get a little loosey-goosey, and then Dante's right there, the innocent bystander.
You see right there, Grant migrating up the track. And yep, there's the contact. I think both the 88 and the 27 might have brushed the wall, so they both scrubbed off momentum. And then Dante nowhere to go. Kind of a bumper grab there when Grant came down across his nose. And they both spin into the grass area, but kind of almost similar to what we saw there with the John Godfrey spin that brought out the only caution under the last. Well, actually, no, we had 2 cautions in the Open, but the first caution of that Open, kind of similar, a harmless spin, not really much contact or much damage for either the 88 or the 84. Again, though, the big penalty for both of them is they lose out on a ton of track position. They were both running up inside of the top 10 at the time.
Absolutely, and now they got to come in and get some tires. Well, I mean, they still got a long way to go, so that's at least like a positive note on the thing. I don't think they got a lot of damage.
I think Bob Dixon went with fuel only, because he's going to come out as the race leader here. Everybody else still quite a ways back. I think the 143 went with the fuel-only strategy. Everybody else decided to take on tires, which is interesting because I think that this caution here is around the same time we had the first caution back in the Open, and during that caution, everyone came down and took tires, and that was 2X. This is 3X.
And Bob Dixon is clutching, by the way.
So gains that track position. Did he miss his pit stall?
Yeah, I'm coming down looking at it again. He just went right through pit road.
Oh, okay, so...
Yeah, he's behind the Coca-Cola machine on the high side. Everyone's coming down. He would look like he was going to slow down and turn into a stall, and Dante was there, and then he turned to the right and kept going on out, so he went around another lap.
Also bear in mind as well, they had the opportunity here for the All-Star race. They didn't in the All-Star Open, but in the All-Star race, they had the opportunity to qualify, but there were some drivers locked in that elected not to qualify, so they would have been gridded up randomly with other drivers, and much like we had in the All-Star Open with All-Star race drivers in the server observing, there are a bunch of drivers that didn't transfer into the All-Star race that are in the server watching this All-Star race as well. And so Bob Dixon may have been counting pit stalls and thinking he had a certain number of pit stall and ended up being maybe 2 or 3 pit stalls sooner than that. Obviously, he's not going to get a bonus point for a lap led because there are no points in an All-Star race, but tough break there. He'll now be starting at the tail end of the field, which I think is where he actually started this race at the initial green flag.
Josh Metallic cycles around back to the lead, Seth, and then you got Frank Rivard on the high side. Now, we saw Josh jump out there and try to control everything, but the one scenario now is what? You got that 17 machine back there.
Yep.
And he's got Rodney right in front of him. Now, that wasn't there originally when we went to green to begin with. That 17 machine was way in the back there, Seth. He's already up here in 5th.
I was noticing. I was watching him actually making some moves. He at one point was 3 wide with Richard Martin. I believe Jeremy Jeffries was in that 3 wide formation with them. He was fighting his way up there to the front. So too was Demar. A couple of drivers who already have the experience of the All-Star Open. And I'm looking at the back. I want to see, yep, Grant's coming in. Is Dante going to come in? Because I wondered about those two. Remember when Chuck said he got the black flag at the end, nearing the end of that All-Star Open? He said, you know what? I'm not going to gain any track position. I might as well come down, top off the fuel tank. It translated to a victory.
Well, Dante and Grant are both coming in.
That does not surprise me. I thought maybe they might do that here. Why not? Get that little bit of extra security in the fuel tank, be able to go a little bit further.
Lights are out. We're going to go green next time by us. So this is a little bit of a saving grace for them right now.
And a couple of things that we cannot do. We can't really base off of the All-Star Open who's going to be good to make it on fuel, who is not, because they're going to have to at least make 1 more pit stop before the conclusion, maybe 2, because we've got more laps than we had in the Open, and we're on 3X rather than 2X, so...
And we're not on a super speedway, okay, I got that.
I wasn't going to mention that part, but you already did, so... So the way they'll line up here for this restart, Josh Metallic, Frank Rivard now going to be the front row. Rodney Sullins and Andrew Miller will be row 2. Our All-Star Open winner Chuck McClure and Jeff Supta in row 3. Then Jeremy Jeffries, Richard Martin, Andre Mahjong, and Dave Melson going to be the top 10. Again, the same rules apply as they did back in the All-Star Open. One incident and you're done. We see both the 27 and the 88 are still out there, so I think kind of similar to what happened between the 43 and the 711 back during the Open. Probably deemed a racing deal, and both drivers still going to be able to continue in this race.
I'm scrolling around here looking at these trucks for this race, and I'm actually enjoying some of these schemes I'm seeing. I mean, yeah, some of these are familiar schemes like Josh's Cat Car and Rodney's scheme, but I'm also looking at some of these other ones I've never really seen. Like Andre Terres has Motorcraft. I've never seen that white and gold and red one. That's really nice.
Green flag set to come back out here. Lap 11 goes on the board, so if you're keeping score at home, we get into a long green flag run, you're probably looking around lap 30 when these drivers would have to dive onto pit road for fuel.
I just got scared of myself. I went on the pace car for a moment. It said 0 out of 60. I'm like, what?
We've just reset the server. We're going to run it all over again.
I know. Why did we do that? Well, that's fine for us, really. So, who are you going to look at now? Are you going to be paying more attention to these guys up front, or do you want to... Whoa, Rodney kind of sliding up there. Chuck had to back off.
Oh, got one in the wall. Oh, two in the wall. Jeremy Jeffries, Andrew Miller.
Caution's out.
Oh, Dave Melson up in the air. Andre Charest is up and over.
Round and round. And Supta, is that Supta? And the infield grass?
Yes, it is.
Yep, it is. I don't know. I gotta go back and see if he made contact with the wall, but I just barely saw him flying around in that grass area.
I didn't see him get clipped. That was a good call there. Oh, man, Dave Melson, the front tires came off the ground. I don't know how the 75's still running after that barrel roll on the front straightaway. I'm calling you on the commentator's curse for admiring his paint scheme.
La 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 la.
Let's go back and take a look at what happened here. Now, Andrew Miller was the first one I saw hit the wall. I don't know if he got forced up the track there or if he just hit the wall and bounced down into the one. We'll see here. Off of 4, 1 is migrating up. Now Miller just slides up, gets the wall.
Yeah, he hits the wall and bounces off. But you notice where Andrew hit that wall. He hit it where that safer barrier sticks out right before it goes back into the actual thin wall part. So
right.
We've had that problem before. Luckily, it's on this side, not the other side. But still, I mean, when you hit that, that's going to jar you off, and just that one little clip to Jeremy is all it took.
I'm a little confused what happened with Jeremy Jeffries because I thought the 47 might have bounced down and clipped him. Did he just overcorrect or something?
See, what happened was, if you remember, I was commenting on Rodney. Rodney was starting to push up back in 3 and 4, and when he was pushing up, Chuck got a huge run, and he was trying to back off so he wouldn't hit Rodney. When he did that, that's what I guess caused Jeremy to get a little bit squirrely off of that coming off before.
Yep, we just saw it there. Yeah, the 17 kind of pushed up a little bit and made the contact with the 1.
Supta hit that outside wall and during that wreck right at the start finish line. I don't know how hard he hit, but he also hit the he noticed it just a little bit on the right front on that inside pit wall too, Seth, the grass area.
Yep.
So I don't know how much damage the 11 machine has.
Yeah, he got clipped when Dave Melson came up and got Andre Charest. Charest then kind of squeezed Supta up into the outside wall. Take a look at this ride for Andre Charest, who was running in the 12th position the last time by. Nowhere to go as the 038 right there gets sent up into his path. And 1, 2 barrel rolls over. Turns the truck back around, continues on.
You know, I just thought of something really horrible. Seth?
Yes.
What if we had a truck or a car with the paint scheme of the Count from Sesame Street on there? It says 1, 2 barrel rolls.
We'd get to 5 and be too many barrel rolls.
I'm guessing we would be talking to Sean Prime again, wouldn't we?
Probably.
Cool throwback. Anyway, So, notice that Grant came in, Jeremy obviously came in, and Andrew came in. Now, based on that wreck, would you rather try to be up front and just stay up front now, knowing what just happened, or do you think they got the little jitters out of their system now?
I mean, the racer in me would say yes, with just being out there on the track. But the commentator in me, seeing that the racing double wide and 3 wide is happening up at the front of the field and the checking up there is then translating to the middle of the pack, I don't know. I don't know if there is actually a safe place to be. I guess P1, yeah, but if I'm back in 3rd or 4th or 5th position, yeah, I'm up towards the front, but I'm not sure if I feel all that safe and secure at the moment.
Well, I'm looking around here. It looks like Brian Schillen, Cy Jones, they've kept their trucks off nicely and clean at the moment. I mean, they're right around mid to back of the pack though.
Yep, and they were able to actually have that wreck happen in front of them. They basically almost came to a stop. They crawled down the
Yeah,
front straightaway to avoid all that.
but when you slam on the brakes like that, I mean, the time's to wear. And I told you, I ran a few laps in practice, and I had a right front about 85% after less than 10 laps of running around. I mean, you hit the brake just a little bit, not even a lot, and that's going to wear the heck out of your tires. I mean, I know they just had pit stops, but that moment when you do it, it's just, it's kind of like cements and sits there in your mind about realizing how hard you can push it in your checkups and your brake points now.
That's an interesting thought, because I know we haven't had the opportunity yet to observe it. We may still near the end of this race, but you bring up about the 3 times wear affecting when you get on the brakes. If we have green flag pit stops, we know these drivers like to hot pit.
Not happening.
No? Are we not going to be able to do that without the tires locking up?
They might try it. I mean, at a plate track, yes. This is California 05 grip. I don't know if there's a hot pit slash balance level with the speeding. I don't know. And honestly, with times 3 wear stuff, whether it's times 3 or times 4, I would not trust myself hot pitting.
Right, because my thought process is, 1, you got to get that thing to whoa up. But number 2, if it's 3 times wear and you're hard on those front tires and you blow a left or a right front tire, that could probably snap you around into one of those walls, because you've got a wall on the left and you've got a wall on the right.
It's not even that. It's you're still kind of turning off of 4. You're still kind of turning left when you're on the brake.
Yeah.
So I'd be more worried about it snapping around or someone running into me rather than actually making it on the speeding of coming in.
A few drivers in the All-Star Open did make some green flag pit stops out of necessity for fuel. We saw Dave Robbins and Tim Knopfsker and Greg Palmer all have to pit late. None of the drivers here, including the drivers that transferred in via the All-Star Open, have made a green flag pit stop here tonight. They may have one on the horizon. We'll have to wait and see. Chuck McClure, though, he went to victory lane already this evening, winning that All-Star Open, and he leads us to green here now in the All-Star race. Lap 16 on the board.
Round 3. Let's see how long this round lasts up before they get really antsy. I mean, hopefully they've kind of settled themselves out a little bit. Now we can just ride around for a bit before we get too aggressive. But just as soon as I say that, they're moving lanes back here. Jeremy from the bottom to the high side. I see Cy go a little bit lower. Melson's trying to make a move over on Cy Jones to take the spot and duck down in front of him. I mean, side by side all the way rose back, Seth.
Doug Kulik looking to the inside of Frank Rivard for 5th.
Really got high up, and it just barely touched Andrew Miller. Maybe he didn't touch him. Maybe Andrew tried to save it, and maybe when he caught it, he went up into the wall.
He's got a lot of damage on that right side, does Andrew Miller now. Visible damage on the Powerade Chevrolet. Doug Kulik, you're trying to take that 5th position from Frank Rivard. If he can get by the 35, 4 of your top 5 will be your open transferees. And Dante Ricky, the other one, not that far back. He's currently around the 7th or 8th position.
No, Andre is not going to wait. Andre is going to make the move right now.
To the inside of Demar. Looks to clear up here off of 4. Ooh. I think he was clear, but he wasn't certain about it. He stays down low. The 43 will get back to his outside here. Frank Rivard offering some drafting help to the 27 on the inside line. And I think the pass is completed now for 3rd. Mahjong over Martin. though he doesn't clear himself up.
I'm looking around here back at the back here. It looks like Grant Wesley's riding single file right behind Brian Schilling in the 16th, trying to take 50 from Andre Therese. I'm not sure he's got damage, like bad damage or what, or unless he's just deciding now he's just going to ride around. I mean, Schilling has no damage from what we've seen either. But, I mean, maybe that was enough to get them to sit there and say, well, you know what, let them be silly, let them wreck, and we'll take advantage of it later, because we've had that before with us. We'll take advantage. We like to play around in the back for a while, don't we?
Absolutely. Take a look at the top 5 before Metallic ends up taking the 5th position from Frank Rivard.
Okay.
But if you look at the top 5 and the criteria to make it into this All-Star race, you've only got 2 Speedway wins. One with Ronnie Sullins, one with Frank Rivard in the last 3 seasons. The other 3 drivers had to transfer their way into the All-Star race because they didn't have a Speedway win in the last 3 seasons. So, I don't know, I don't want to say inexperience, but the lack of checkered flags from Speedways, a lot of them up here at the front looking for a checkered flag here in an All-Star race.
Yeah, I absolutely see that, but you got to also remember, if we go back to when we used to race and broadcast a few of these other races, you know, the what was it? It was either Monday or Tuesday night when they used to do normal speedway races and short tracks and whatnot. Off and on, it might have been bare bones stuff.
I think it was bare bones. Yep.
We used to see Dave Melson, Supta, Jeremy Jeffries, Robert Malcolm whenever he would race here.
Oh, car on the wall back there.
We would see them up near the front all the time. We'd also see Ronald Luzier, Andre Marjan, you know, Frank Rivard. They would make moves to the front. So even, you know, some of these guys that may have had to transfer their way in, like Chuck McClure and Andre Marjan and whatnot, I mean, the ability's there. We know because we've seen it in the past that they just had bad luck.
Yeah, and a lot of the drivers that transferred their way in, we're not saying that they've never won a Speedway race. They just haven't won a Speedway race in the last 3 seasons, which is the criteria to lock yourself into the All-Star race. They may have had a Speedway win back prior to season 59.
The competitive level here in this league, not just this series specifically, but in the league itself. I mean, we look at the Super Speedway Series. I mean, it's competitive enough. That's just going all out every single race. That's not talking about Speedway itself. I mean, Speedway itself is probably more challenging than the Super Speedway race itself, based on the strategy and whatnot. And the caliber of drivers are always high up there.
Chuck McClure moving back up into 2nd place. Ooh, Frank Rivard really had to check up going into 3. Rodney Sullins enjoying that clean air. Chuck told us earlier, track position, super, super important. Right now, Rodney Sullins has that. He doesn't have any aero tightness in the corners with somebody in front of him taking the air off his nose. He's got a nice entry into the corner. He's just trying to hold off the run and the draft behind him, which right now is Chuck McClure, but he got stacked up. Here comes Frank Rivard looking low, Andre Marjan looking high. I mean, we're double wide all the way back through the top 10 here.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. I talked about Schilling not being involved in anything. Jeremy Jeffries a little bit looser, trying to figure out which lane he wanted to take at the last second. Got right behind Dave Melson. Grant Wesley's on his outside back here side. You got Dante right in front of Grant. You got Supta right in front of Dante. I mean, these guys were involved in a few incidents earlier and whatnot, and looks like maybe they're not that badly damaged as they look like they took. I mean, Dante just went around along with Grant, but I mean, Supta with that damage on the side and damage on the inside a little bit, he's up here battling. He's still in the thick of things.
That was close right there. Richard Martin with a cross to the inside of Metallic off of 2. Nearly spun himself off the nose of Doug Hewlick. Making some spicy moves there for now the 5th position on Metallic, trying to crack his way back into the top 5. And remember what I said, around lap 30 is when these drivers would have to start thinking about green flag pit stops. 5 laps away from that. Oh, we're not going to get to it. Mahjong off the nose of Frank Rivard. Richard Martin up and over. I'll take the commentator curse on that one. Has 3 trucks up into the outside wall here in 1 and 2. Caution's going to fly for the 3rd time tonight.
We are racing back, though.
We are indeed. We're going to stay up here, follow these drivers to the line. Top 2 got away because everything happened from 3rd place on back. Sullins and McClure. Looks like Doug Hulick may have slipped by for 3rd place, and Josh Metallic will come to the line in 4th place.
I'm wondering if Schilling got any damage because he got hit hard from behind. I mean, he didn't hit the incident that was in front of him, but I think Ron Haglund or Bob Dixon or orangey reddish type front bumper went right into the back end of his machine. So I don't know if Schilling's got any damage. That's also something that we noticed whenever they wreck, they check up. You know what I mean? They're trying to avoid the wreck, and the mess doesn't get back quick enough, and sometimes you can't see where the smoke is, and bam.
But you already talked about it too. 3 times wear. You hit the brakes. It's probably not going to slow as well as it would have if it's 1 or 2x.
Nah, no. It ain't going to. I mean, that's what I'm wondering how bad the damage is on the back end of Schilling's machine.
Let's take a look once again at what happened here. This was a battle for 3rd place. Frank Rivard on the bottom, Andre Mahjong on the top. It looked like initially the 27 might have come down across the nose of the 35, but maybe the 35 moves up. Across the line, and yeah, it looks right there. Maybe Frank moves up. And man, tough break there for Richard Martin. Josh Metallic actually got a piece of it. And I saw that hit you were talking about there for Brian Schilling. I couldn't pinpoint who the driver was that got it. Might have been Dante. Ricky might have bumped him from behind.
No. It was a red machine. I saw the bumper was red. I couldn't tell whether it was Ron Haglund or Bob Dixon. At least that's what I assume.
Dixon was the car behind him at the time. I'm not 100% certain if he was the one that hit him or not.
I'm currently watching pit road, see what's going on up here, see if they have any little incidents coming in or coming off here.
There's another look at it here.
I mean, like I said, Schilling. I was riding with Schilling for a moment, and that to me looked like it was a hard hit.
Wild ride for Demar. 2nd truck to take a barrel roll here in this all-star race. The first one was Andre Charest, who was off the pace when we went back green. He was about 7-8 seconds behind the leaders with his damage, and more than likely Richard Martin's going to suffer the same fate, I would think, with that barrel roll up in 1 and 2. So, if my math is correct, these drivers now should be able to make it the rest of the way on 1 more pit stop. If they came to pit road, depending on when we go back green, of course, but as of right now, if they came back to pit road 19 laps from now, then they would be 2 laps to the good to be able to make it the rest of the way. And obviously we're going to have another pace lap or 2 here under caution for them to be able to save a little bit of extra fuel.
And I went back to look at that shot that Schilling took to see who it was and the telemetry on that. Bob Dixon was the truck that got in the back end of Schilling. But I do want to point out that, you know, Dixon slowed about 25 to 30 mile an hour when he knew he was going to, you know, be right behind Schilling when something was happening. He slowed down and he still shot really hard in the back of him. I mean, these things, like you were saying, they don't really are happy of, hey, yeah, we can stop, not a problem. You ain't gonna get no issues whatsoever with your brake shot. No, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, the detriment of the 3 times wear, obviously, the tires wear down a lot more, and they had been on a pretty long run right there. I mean, as I said, we were about 5 laps away from when they were going to have to make green flag pit stops. So that's about 14, 15 green flag laps they had on those tires, plus you put into the factor that it is 3 times wear getting on the brakes. Those tires are going to wear down a lot more. The plus side, though, is the fact that this track does have more grip in it, so it was kind of a solid hit straight on from Dixon into Schilling, and Schilling was able to keep that thing straight and didn't spin out.
Yeah, and luckily he didn't have any issues whatsoever. Schilling was able to be in total control of the truck the whole time, and that's something that, you know, we like to mention about this series, that the high caliber drivers, like we were talking about earlier, it's very competitive over here, and that's one of the reasons why these drivers know what they're doing.
A few drivers that probably were pretty happy to see that caution come out. We documented already Andre Charest. If this thing had continued to trend green, he probably would have gotten put a lap down with how far off the pace he was. But also Andrew Miller, who got into the wall there just after we went back green. We had visible right side damage, and also Ron Hagelin got up into the wall a couple of times during that run. They would have had the opportunity here under this caution period to come down and repair that damage. Might be a difference maker into a little bit of extra straightaway speed on the next green flag.
The extra yellow that we've got right now for one to go. Andre Marjan, Supta, Dave Melson, and Frank Rivard all coming down to top up and maybe get a little fresh rubber real quick if they need it. But I mean, you get Grant Wesley up there in fourth, Jeremy Jeffries in third now, Seth. I mean, we saw what they did last time. They came in the last run around, and now they're like, no, we're up here now. We're going to sit here and we're going to follow what Chuck and Rodney are doing.
Yeah, Jeremy and Grant, under our third caution, were involved in one of the two first cautions and have now been able to turn their fortune, make their way up here now into the second row for the upcoming restart. Dante Ricky right there as well, going to roll off sixth on the restart, was also involved in the first caution of the night. Well, last week for Rolling Thunder Gaming, it was championship week. This week it's All-Star Race week. Tonight we're bringing you coverage of the Speedway style All-Star Race. The All-Star Open took place earlier on this evening, and Thursday night we're bringing you coverage of the Open and All-Star Race Super Speedway style. It's going to be the Xfinity cars at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. We'll bring you coverage of the Open at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the All-Star Race will immediately follow, probably somewhere around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All depends on when the Open finishes up, but be sure to join us for that. We still got to crown ourselves an All-Star Race winner here at Auto Club as green flag back in the air, and Rodney Sullins was ready for it to drop because he got a great jump. Not sure if he'll clear Chuck McClure off of turn 2, but we'll see.
Side by side all the way back, just about, and I don't know, Seth, they're trying to run side by side. I mean, Chuck's losing a lot of ground there to Rodney.
Rodney got that really good run on the top side on those fresh
Everyone's
tires.
going to the high side. Look, like Chuck's all by himself. I mean, they'll come back down in the corner, but they'll go right back up on that straightaway.
Grant Wesley now going to put the pressure on him. It's the highest that Grant has run so far here tonight.
Will you stop? You're going to give him the horseshoe luck again.
So far you and I are 1-1 in commentator curse, so hopefully.
Okay, so let's
is that our one for the night? Hopefully.
Let's play jinx specific people.
I don't know. Can you jinx somebody that's got a golden horseshoe?
I don't know. He was in the wreck earlier, and I was the one who made a statement about him. Remember? So there you go.
We're gonna have to Google that. What is there that can take away the positive power of a golden horseshoe? Probably a 5-leaf clover or something. 3 wide further back here. They were stacked up. Andrew Miller, Ron Hagelin, Bob Dixon.
Demar seems to be like he's up to speed at the moment, so he's making his way around Andrew Miller on the high side, trying to run down the outside of Bob Dixon and Ron Hagelin here.
I mean, he got away a lot better on his barrel roll than Andre Charest did.
Do we have? Oh, geez, I don't know. 32 out of 63. My mind's thinking about pit stops and fuel right now. What do you think?
So when we went back green, it was on lap 29. If they can go, I'm gonna be generous and put it from the 18 to 19. I'll be generous and put it at 19. They would then have to pit somewhere around lap 48. That would then put them on another fuel run to make it to the completion of lap 67. So right now, on one more pit stop, they'd be looking at somewhere about 2 to 3 laps to the good. That's a far cry from what we saw in the All-Star Open, where they were about 2 to 3 laps short, at least the drivers up at the front of the field.
Well, maybe they might not be done wrecking yet. Who
That's
knows?
true.
Because they're getting a little bit antsy up here. Rodney's still holding the lead, but Jeremy Jeffries, he's been back there most of the race, and now he's like, well, you know what? You remember me? You know, the guy who won this and this and this and this? Yeah, I exist. I'm up here now. I mean, Jeremy is battling side by side with Rodney after having that horrible luck at the beginning of this race. And Jeremy's going to take the lead from Rodney, not a threat whatsoever, no problem whatsoever. He's bringing Chuck McClure back with him, too.
Jeffries, truck number 1 to position number 1, the Season 61 Lightning Truck Series champion, former All-Star Race winner from 2 years ago, and looking to pick up his second All-Star Race victory in 3 years.
Well, we heard what you and Jeremy were talking about in a pre-race. I mean, with him having the experience, with him being the champion, with him running this racetrack multiple times, season finale. I mean, think about all the knowledge and experience Jeremy has regarding this track right now.
Yeah, he also brought up as well, though, that this racetrack was the venue for the season finale for Speed Freaks, the Tuesday night series. So not only Jeremy, but a lot of other drivers that might have taken part in that race, that would have been CTS Physics. Exactly, Dante, who was the champion of that series this season, they would have had experience here at this racetrack, maybe even with this setup and these physics. The only difference is just the body, Xfinity car to a big honking truck.
Well, going back to your point, I mean, the other difference is 3X, number 1, and number two, the other issue is hitbox might be a little bit different, like you said earlier.
We saw that hitbox come into play with our last caution, the contact for 3rd place between Andre Mahjong and Frank Rivard. How about Doug Kulik? Transferred his way in 3rd place in the All-Star Open, and he's looking to the inside of Rodney Sullins. Another solid run for him after a transfer spot from the qualifying race. Right behind him, Dante Ricky as well, another of our transferees who finished 2nd in the Open.
Seth, can we please do it on the broadcast for just one moment, please?
What do we
do? Can we get a good look at Doug Kulik's back bumper right there on the front hood? Because I actually did not notice why you referenced that until a little earlier when I actually scrolled on top of him. Like, wait, what?
How many looks does it take? I thought when you said you had a question, I thought you had seen the back bumper.
I had not. And that was like, I was just scrolling through, I'm like, I changed the view by accident, and I got to his hood view, and I'm like, wait, what? Oh, that's why I stopped, and now I'm like scrolling through with the far chase view, and I'm like, step back. Oh, Dante with a huge aggressive move down there.
So, I'm going to say we've used up our commentator curses for the night, and I'm hoping I'm not jinxing him as Chuck McClure takes the race lead. But if Doug Kulik ends up going for a barrel roll, you realize when we count his barrels, we're going to have to go a 1, a 2.
That's going to be a nice little ad commercial, man, that we're going to make.
It is.
I think we're going to have to talk to Cole Baker / Cole Eastwood about that.
Ooh, that was tight right there, going through 3 and 4. I think we were 3 wide in 2 different areas.
Look at them all the way back here, Seth, from where you're running up there in the top 2 or 3.
Nobody can get single file.
All the way back here to 16th.
They can't get single file. They're double file at the back. They're 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Chuck McClure right now, he's got a challenge to his outside for the lead. Jeremy Jeffries battling back. So everybody has somebody to battle right now.
I mean, I understand it's an all-star race. Go get it. I get that. But maybe it's a little too early to start pushing the issue, I think. For me, personally. 3 wide. 3 wide. Seth, Metallic, and Rodney are right there with Grant. They're really close off of that turn 4.
I was waiting to see how that was going to resolve. I thought maybe Sullins was going to clear around Metallic, but no, they still stay 3 wide going into 1.
Someone's got to lift. Someone is going to have to lift and sort themselves out, and it looks like they're going to fix that out.
Really wide there for Sullins off the
Ron
corner.
Going to make that move.
It's not necessarily a bad thing to be wide off the corner in turn 2 here at California. There is a little bit more runoff space before you get to the wall. It's when you're really wide off of 4, because that outside wall, it catches up to you really quick.
And yeah, how about Ron Hagelin having a good run up here?
Solid outing for him.
We haven't really talked about him much, and Schilling now is up here in the top 10, battling around 8 for the Ron Hagelin, right behind Josh Metallic and Rodney Sullins, their leader from earlier, and Dante is now up front. So, and we mentioned Dante was the winner of the championship, so he knows a thing or two about speedways for sure.
Ron Hagelin locking himself into this all-star race with a victory in the, I believe it was the trucks. Yeah, I believe it was the Lightning Truck Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway very early on in the season 61.
Whoa, a little bit of the apron there.
Yep. Slid up the track, and now he's in the middle 3 wide. Metallic to the bottom. Sullen's on the top.
Cy Jones making his appearance here, Belt. He's coming right up behind Josh Metallic now, so he's going to try to get 1, almost 2, 3 at one time if he can. Oh, he's probably going to back up a little bit here behind Hewlett.
That's actually not Cy Jones. That's Doug Cady.
Oh, that's Doug. I am
Doug's
so
the
sorry.
Napas and Sunoco's Cy.
Oh, Lord, I am so sorry to Cy Jones and Doug Cady. I thought this
okay,
was Cy Jones all night.
but in your defense, it's a blue and yellow car with a 7 on it, so it's an easy mistake.
Whoa, contact.
Oh, no!
7 and Doug and Dave Melson.
Big hit there for Dave Melson. Head on into the wall. Andrew Miller collected up as well. I think Miller may have
Grant's
just
trying to get the
parked it.
lead, and he will not. Dante will hold it.
Dante Ricky in that Canada Dry machine. Gonna lead us back there to the caution. And guess what, Jess? I was gonna bring up.
Josh, I did not jinx it.
No. I was gonna bring up the fact that in order for these drivers to be able to make it the rest of the way without having to pit, they would have had to have gotten to lap 47. They didn't get there. They're gonna have to pit before the conclusion. We're looking at an all-star open scenario again. These guys are gonna be about 3 to 4 laps short.
Why does it always happen to you or me about calling it out like that? Really? I thought it was Cy Jones. I mean, the 7 wasn't up front most of this race, and I'm like, well, let's talk about the 7. I mean, the 7's right here. You know, it's cool to see the 7 up here. And
well, it's still
I
cool
thought
to
it was
see
Cy
the 7.
Jones. No, Doug Cady. It's Doug Cady. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to botch it. Botch it that badly. And then all of a sudden, it's Doug Cady. All of a sudden, Doug Cady meet Dave Nelson.
And you see it right there. Pushes up into the 038. Andrew Miller nowhere to go in that 3 wide situation.
And that right there is a result of not just tire wear, but it's also a result of the draft and being in that low line. You're going to get the checkups, and when you back off that throttle just a little bit and get back on it and trying to play with it, you're going to push up. That was, in my opinion, that right there is racing.
And not only that, but consider the fact that they were 3 wide for about the latter half of the front straightaway. That inside line truck's going to have a much shallower entry into the corner.
Bob Dixon and Andre Marjon stayed outside.
Interesting call there. I don't see why you would do that. I think you would have been
Grant got it.
about 5 laps away from when you would have. No, about more than that. About 7 or 8 laps away from when you would have had to have thought about coming to pit road under green.
I don't know if you caught me or not, but Grant got Dante at the line on that one.
Oh, did he? Grant qualified 10th, and Dante qualified 7th, so it might have come down maybe to exit launch there with Grant having the further back pit stall.
Oh, Rodney's slowing on the apron.
Oh, did he get a penalty?
He had to have gotten a penalty.
Oh.
I feel bad for that. He was up front most of this race.
He led the most laps so far, 13. That's a tough break there. He spent a good portion of the race out in front or up inside of the top 5, and now...
You know what this is? You know exactly what this is, right? Chuck can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah, right? What do you think? 38 coming to pit road? Gonna be coming to pit road to top off?
I would if I were him. I would.
So Dave Melson has taken his car back behind the wall. Andrew Miller has done the same.
He is. He's going to make that left turn a little bit late, but he made that left turn. Seth Frank Rivard's on. Demar's on.
And I'm trying to understand this strategy for Bob Dixon and Andre Mahjong. I mean, they're saving fuel here. Okay, so the only thing I can think of for these 2 drivers is they've been also doing the calculations in their head. They know that if they get past lap 47, then they can, on one more pit stop, make it the rest of the way. They have to be planning on this race going green to the conclusion. That's the only thing they can be planning on here, because they know everybody else is probably going to have to pit somewhere in less than 5 to go. That's the only thing I can think of, unless they pit here coming to the 1 to green. So it looks like 16 drivers of our original 18 will take the green flag for the upcoming restart. Dave Melson's going to finish 17th tonight. Andrew Miller will finish in 18th. And we're waiting to see here on Dixon and Mahjong if indeed they are going to stay out. We should, I think, get the lights out on the pace truck this time by, which means we would go back green right on the lap. That would be them being able to make it the rest of the way on fuel.
You think anyone's gonna come in at the last second to pit again?
I would. If you're at the back, absolutely do
Dante
it.
is. Look at that. Look at that. He's moving down.
Yep, I completely agree with
Top
this.
2 are. Top 2 are as well.
Maybe that's why they stayed out, because they were planning on pitting on the final lap. Metallics, oh, look at them all. Everybody's coming in. Monkey
Look
see,
at
monkey
Grant.
do.
Grant and Doug. Sad face.
Richard Martin staying out as well. Oh, boy. Okay, so now we've got a split scenario here with the drivers that pit and the drivers that stayed out. The drivers that pit will probably be about half a lap short. They'll
Demar's
probably
out
try and
too.
save that. Grant Wesley, Doug Kulik, and Richard Martin, they're planning on one of two things. Either they're planning on a caution coming out, so that way then they can save some more fuel under pacing, or they're planning on a yellow flag coming out around the point of no return, and then Grant Wesley maybe
Just
pull
have
off
fun at
another
the end.
fuel strategy miracle.
And if he does, I'm going to have a serious conversation about trying to find some golden horseshoes somewhere.
But we've already established his is the original.
Nope. Nope. I don't believe that his is an original. I believe his is a duplicate. You want to know why I think that?
I do want to know why.
Brian Schilling and Schilling Motors.
Don't say that. Brian's still in the race.
I know.
If his engine explodes, oh boy.
I hope. Yeah, if this is close, I think I'm not going to be racing for a
Oh,
little
man.
bit because I'll probably get wrecked every time I'm on the track.
All right, lights out. Getting ready to go back green. It's going to be a total of 19 laps remaining. Grant Wesley, Doug Kulik, and Richard Martin, the top three, they did not come to pit road on the 1 to green. Josh Metallic actually won the battle off pit road of those that pitted on that last lap of caution, so he'll restart fourth. Dante, Ricky, Jeremy, Jeffries, the top 3 rows. Green flag out. Demar was not ready for it. Grant gets away, but he's going to have him pretty well stacked and lined up to his outside. Nope, never mind. He cleared up in front of Doug Kulik, so he'll have the top spot going into 1.
I only mention this right now because it's 47, like you said, right there at the line mark here of making it. Did you take into account of not just ×3, but also CTS physics too?
Yes, I did. I based it. I pretty much based it all off of the numbers we had from the Open, and then took the ×2 to the ×4 to kind of figure out what ×3 would be.
Okay, I was just curious if you took that into account.
Yep.
And you know, Grant's using a lot more being up front like he is too.
That's the thing, right? I mean, he had a hardcore save there under that pacing period. With him being out in front, we saw the same deal happen in the Open with Tim Novsker and Greg Palmer. They spent a good portion of time out in front, and it ended up ultimately costing them because they couldn't save during the green flag run to the finish.
Whoa, tight close with Jeremy Jeffries and Doug Hill there.
Jeff Supta.
Whoa, hello.
Going up that third lane to try and make a move.
I just heard someone playing. I want to find out who it is.
Oh, Jeremy's in the wall. Metallic's in the wall. 3 wide, crossing the line for second. Oh, is Chuck going to make it 4? Oh, they settle it to 3.
Seth? Gotta clutch your way back here.
Who we got?
The 35, clutching it.
Okay. And we know he's one of the ones that came to pit road on the 1 to green as well, getting that little extra bit of security in the fuel
I
tank.
just want to point out that he was clutching, so.
I thought I saw for a brief moment there, too, off of turn 4 about 2 laps ago. In the lead, I think I saw Grant Wesley blip the clutch for just a little bit of a moment.
You mean under green or under?
Yeah, under green.
Under green, huh?
Yeah, I think they were stacked up double wide behind him, so he took that opportunity to clutch just a little bit. Here comes Chuck to the bottom.
Coach like, nah,
Oh no, he pushes up the track
Whoa!
into Grant, moves him out of the groove. Grant's gonna keep it going, but he's gonna lose a lot of track position because of that. The slide job didn't quite work.
Whoa. Hello. Hi, how are you? They're really going at it now, aren't they, Seth? They're really starting to amp it up. I mean, we still got 14 laps. I mean, I don't know whether they're saying, well, we're going to get our position now before the caution comes out, or I just don't know what in the world, but they're really pushing it. I mean, like I said, 13 laps to go.
Yeah, maybe a lot of these guys up here at the front feel that they wouldn't have been able to save, even with coming at the 1 to green mark, to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. So if they race it up hard like this, maybe they'll get lucky. Maybe there'll be a little bit of contact that will lead to a wreck, not involving them. That's obviously very important for these drivers. But
Grant under fire with Brian Schill back here, battle for 9th.
Yeah, but then maybe they can make it. Supta's on the move.
Whoa, hello. Someone just hit the apron. It was Dante. Dante hit the apron, bounced up, and it checked up that bottom line badly.
And it stacks them 3 wide again. Hagelin, Schilling, Martin, Metallic back there.
Man, that 17 of Chuck McClure is putting on a clinic tonight, isn't he?
He definitely is. I mean, he said track position, very important, and he wants it here in the closing stages of this all-star race. I'm trying to remember, was it Casey Kane that ended up winning the All-Star Open and the All-Star race in the same year? I think that's what you're trying to do.
Was it that, or did he get the fan
Was
vote?
it the fan? That's what I was trying to remember. Was it that he won the Open or he won the fan
I would say
vote
it was
and
a
then the
fan
All-Stars?
vote. I think it was a fan vote
Okay.
that he won the race.
I can't remember if there was a driver that ended up
that
winning
would-
the
that
Open
would be
and
a
the All-Star
Kyle.
race in the same night.
Hey, Seth, that's a Kyle question.
You know, you're probably right. Jeremy Jeffries, we saw him get into the wall, drop back to around 7th or 8th. He now is back up into the top 3, making his way around the top side of Doug Hewlick.
Rodney still kind of stuck back here around the Josh Metallic, Brian Schilling, and Grant Wesley machine back here around 11th, 12th, and 10th and 9th place back here. I mean, Brian. Oh, yep. I just saw him clutch. He's clutching a little bit here.
Chuck McClure
The
is
88. The 88 is clutching a
IndyCarring.
bit.
I wondered about that. I wondered if when Grant got shuffled back to mid-pack, if he was then going to start saving.
Well, he just clutched a lot of them going into 3 and in the middle of 3, a little bit more than what I would have done, but he was. So
Here
yeah,
comes
he's back there.
Supta for the race lead.
Yeah, Grant's still clutching. He gets a run on someone, he starts clutching right up to the back bumper. So Grant's really close to making it.
Supta's only led
short.
1 lap so far tonight. And looking to lead his second. He's not clear on Chuck going into turn 3. Chuck right down on his door. But I think Jeff's going to get the run off of turn 4 and clear for the top spot.
Yeah, so what Sip doesn't want to do, Sip doesn't want to come up to get in front of Chuck and then go back down and come right back up. But now he's got Jeremy Jeffries right behind him. And I'm surprised, Seth. I've seen that 23 machine still staying strong up here. I haven't seen him clutch it off. Now he's in 3 wide shape between Dante and Ron Hagelin. And
And he's going to get into Dante, and up goes Ron Hagelin into the outside wall. The truck went up and over. Caution
Battle for
will
the lead.
fly.
Grant's trying to make a move on Dante. Not going to work.
Jeremy to the inside of Jeff
Jeffries.
Supta for the top spot, coming back to the caution.
Oh, they got 3 wide, and all of a sudden it went bye-bye on everyone.
Depends on who the drafting help goes to here on the front straightaway. Chuck stays low. That's going to keep Jeremy Jeffries ahead of Jeff Supta. And now you got the big questions because...
Let's see. If you're at the back, I'm coming in the pit, get fresh tires, so I'll have the advantage of tire wear, and not have to worry about a single thing. If I'm up front, Seth, I think I can clutch and save enough under this caution. These laps of caution, because we got, the lap down system like, what, 4 laps of caution. So, but with us going back to green, I don't know, Seth.
We're going to go back and look at the replay, but I'm very interested in this because I'm assuming that the pace backed down quite a bit because of them trying to save fuel. But when they came around to take that caution, Jess, most drivers were running almost a full second slower than their fastest lap. I don't know if that was in half throttling to save fuel or if that's the tires wearing down with the 3X. So there is time to be gained if you
All
get fresh
right, here
tires.
we go, Seth. People are coming.
Here's a look at what brought the caution out.
Everyone's coming in. While you're doing the replay, everyone's coming in pit road, so not a single soul staying out there on that track.
That honestly does not surprise me. Would love to be a fly on the wall of the pit stalls down there, figure out just how close it was for them to be able to make it rest of the way on fuel. Some of them I have to assume wouldn't have been able to. Others might have been right on the number.
So the question is, 4 tires or 2 tires?
Oh, I'm going
Or no
for.
tires.
I'm going for.
Demar's out first, followed by Brian Schilling. Third will be Dante, Jeremy, Supta, Chuck. So we got a brand new ball game at the front of this field, Seth.
You want to know something? I just went back and looked here before we come back to live. Demar went with no tires, fuel only.
That's what I was saying. I don't know if he would take 2 tires or 4 tires, or I don't know. He took no tires.
That's
So.
an interesting call. I don't know.
I believe Dante took tires.
Not
Did
sure
Schilling
how
take
many
no tires?
Brian took.
I'll
I
go
don't
back and look
know
at-
about Brian.
I'm gonna
I
go-
only focused on the 43 for a quick moment there.
I'm going to go back and look at Brian.
Okay. Got Andre Mahjong now up in third. Jeremy Jeffries in fourth. You said Dante took tires. Looks like he's going to be restarting back around
I said I
seventh.
think he took tires. Schilling took right sides.
Okay, so... Oh, Demar's coming back down pit road. I'm not sure why. He wasn't... When I look back, he was in his pit stall. And it looked like they fueled the car. I'm not sure why he's coming back down, but... got that last transfer spot in the All-Star Open to lock himself here in tonight's All-Star race, and we're only going to have a handful of laps. I honestly don't know. I mean, Doug Kulik's out of the race. We'll have 15 drivers, I believe, coming to take this green flag.
And Dante is taking right sides on my end. Let's see if he takes lefts.
I'm trying to figure out if you have fresh tires, if you even have 2 fresher tires than the rest of the competition ahead of you, how many trucks can you have in front of you to be able to pass in time before the checkered flag?
How many trucks does it take to get to the center of Tattoo Hut?
Yeah, it's a question I can't answer.
The
I
world
don't
may
know.
never know.
We haven't yet really seen this scenario. I mean, we talked about the fuel strategy back in the open, but we've yet to really see no tires versus 2 tires versus 4 tires, just how much of a difference it makes. It's one of those sit back, wait and see type of scenarios, I think.
Like I said, Dante did take 4 tires, Schilling took right sides. I'm going to go see what Mojon took. You know, obviously, if Dante took 4 tires, you know Jeremy took 4 tires, because Jeremy was ahead of him.
And I almost think that Grant would have taken 4 tires as well. Probably McClure and Supta. But we've not had the need of the free pass here tonight. Every caution in both the Open and the All-Star race, everybody running at the time has been on the lead lap. We're going to have 15 drivers to settle this thing out. There you see the lights are out atop the pace truck, which means we'll go green on lap 60, which will be 4 laps to go. Pretty sure that will be our point of no return where the next flag will end this All-Star race.
Marjan took right sides only. I'm quickly looking at Jeremy.
Interesting here, you would have thought that even if you just took 2 tires, or if you took 4, you'd have enough fuel to make it to the end. The front row is still clutching.
Yeah, the top 2, Schilling and Marjan, took right sides only. Everyone else behind him, 4 tires.
We'll see if it might be the play to get them to victory lane. They're going to have 4 fresh field goods from 3rd place on back, hunting them down. Restarts have been wild here tonight. And this one might be setting up to be the most wildest, because this is probably going to be the restart that ultimately is going to decide
But
The
Seth,
2024 All-Star Race winner on the Speedway style version.
remember, we got this race here, and then we got another one coming up too.
That's true. Thursday night.
So if you think this one's wild, wait till you see what happens Thursday.
Yeah, be sure to join us Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the All-Star Open for Super Speedway style takes place, and then immediately following, we'll have the All-Star Race main
All right.
event.
Who you jinxing? Who you gonna go with?
I don't know. Can you hold your breath for 4 laps?
I don't know. Michael can try.
Oh, green flag in the air. Here we go. Brian
Rivard
Schilling.
all the way to the bottom. Rivard passing Solons automatically. He's working on Grant Wesley right now. Rivard ain't gonna waste no time, no way at all. He's gonna go way at the bottom stuff, but that I don't like that. Going way down there, he's gonna push up. He's gonna lose a lot more momentum than just what he just gained.
I'll tell
He's
you
gonna
what.
lose it all back.
Brian Schilling, I think, caught a break because I think Jeremy Jeffries either mistimed the restart or missed a shift. He was very slow at the initial drop of that green flag, and he stacked up the whole inside line through 1 and 2.
Schilling goes up to the high side. Marchand's on the very bottom. Got no run at the moment on Schilling.
Look at
I don't know
Dante
if
up
that's
the middle.
fair.
Up the gut. 3 wide with Supta and Andre Mahjong. The fresh tires
Whoa,
of
3
Dante
wide.
Ricky.
Whoa! Pinching 3 wide, 2 rows deep.
Metallic slides up the track off of turn 2. Dante clear for second. He's tandeming with Supta down the back straightaway. Supta, I think, is clear for third.
Here goes Dante. Dante's starting around 4 wide back here
Oh
almost.
my gosh, Chuck McClure almost got the 27.
Got really tired. Grant's gonna slide in behind Marchand. Seth, 2 laps to go. What are we gonna do?
They're slicing and dicing. Katie and Sullins were door banging across the start-finish line. Brian Schilling trying to block every line, every bit of momentum he can here. He'd love to see a caution right now so he doesn't have to defend for another 2 miles. Here comes Dante. Big run down the back straightaway. Shows the nose to the bottom. Can he get there? Schilling's going to give him the inside line. Run the middle. Dante might be on the apron just a tad. Slides up the track. Schilling still clear and sees the white flag.
Dante trying to defend. He doesn't know where he's gonna go between the bottom and the middle here. Grant way up high.
Woo!
3 wide.
Jeffries on the apron.
Jeffries,
Up the track.
Grant.
Into Grant Wesley.
Supta
Supta
sideways.
slides. Caution out.
Rodney
We're still
trying to
racing
get a run
back.
here. Rodney trying to get a run on Chuck McClure is not going to make it, I don't think, here. Metallic trying to come up to the outside of Solons, but the battle right now for this win, for this All-Star race, is between Schilling and Dante. Schilling in complete control, playing on the defensive side.
Dante trying to get that draft, trying to get that toe, trying to get that run off of 4. Does he have enough to dive to the inside? He's going to look. Schilling moves down to block by a truck length. Brian Schilling, the right side tires call is going to get him to victory lane. He'll claim the season 61 Speedway style All-Star race.
Little bit of hyperness out there at the last few laps, don't you think?
Back-to-back races tonight, Jess, where a last pit stop call ends up ultimately winning the race. For McClure, it was a call on fuel. For Schilling, it was a call on tires.
I am just baffled on how that right side held up like that between the left side wearing. He took right sides, and like I said during practice, right sides on my end were wearing. I mean, I told you they were like at 85% in the like 10 laps or less that I did out there. So right sides, was a really good call by Schilling, and I honestly thought Dante was going to get him. I will admit that I thought Dante had him with those fresh 4 tires.
The 4 tires gain you the advantage through the center of the corner off, and Brian was able to block every run Dante had and keep him behind him. 2 things on that final restart and that final run to the checkers worked out for Brian Schilling. Number 1, already documented, Jeremy Jeffries, very slow on the restart. So Schilling was able to clear both lanes and be able to choose which line he wanted going into turn 1. The second thing was that final wreck with Jeremy Jeffries and Grant Wesley, because it then stacked them up from third place on back. Dante didn't have a drafting partner to be able to draft up and get the run he needed on
And
Brian.
and not only that, with so much room on the track, so I mean, I just want to point this out. If Dante went to the bottom and got a nose up under Schilling at the quarter panel, I think Schilling might have been able to hold the middle and actually hold him off coming off the exit of the corners at the same time, because Dante would have to put too much stress going in that corner. I mean, at that point, with the last couple of laps, Dante might have just wore his tires out as much as Schilling did on the right sides, and I think that's what was the big issue, was the right sides. Brian was in total control of that whole scenario. He'd go to the bottom, he'd go to the high side. He was fine either way. It was just that playing defensive, Dante had to figure a way around him and without trying to wreck him or anything, and going too low, you'd hit the apron. I mean, Brian could have come down and pinched him, and Dante hits the apron. He has no choice but to move up the track and lose all that momentum. He goes way up high. There's a chance that Brian goes up there to block him, and Dante hits the wall, catching that draft. I mean, and pushes up. So Brian, an excellent job with how he drove the end of that race.
Absolutely. I don't mean to chuckle, but I believe after a lengthy burn on the front straightaway that put his right rear on life support and probably killed his left rear, I think he just blew his engine trying to get onto the checkered platform here on the front straightaway grass. He's just barely halfway into it. I think the engine went south and he can't get to the center of it.
I can't get on track to help him. Sorry.
Oh, his crew's gonna have to come out and push him the rest of the way to the center. Oh,
But
wow.
Seth, point being, Schilling. I'm not sure about Dante here. I don't know what's going to happen with Dante, but I just want to point this out. Schilling, Chuck, Rodney, Metallic, Demar, the top six there. Like I said, Dante is a question mark in this. These guys are also going to be more than likely running Thursday's Open, or actually already locked in. I think most of these guys, Schilling should be locked in, McClure, Rodney, Metallic, Demar, because he was the champion a couple of seasons ago.
Top six I know are all locked in. I can guarantee you the top six are locked in.
So, you think tonight was fun? Wait until Thursday.
Yep. Also, I know I keep harping back to it, how you and I were 1-1 with the commentator curse. I just realized you made a Brian Schilling and Schilling Motors reference, and Brian's engine exploded before he could get to the center of pit road. What are we doing to these drivers? Oh,
Well,
no.
hopefully, when we get aggravated with a driver in the future, we can actually curse them now.
We've learned the art of NR 2003 voodoo.
Yes, now we can screw someone's championship up and then watch them screw us up in the middle of the race and say, why did you do that?
Oh my gosh. Well, here's a look at the finishing results from tonight's event. Brian Schilling with the victory, Dante Ricky, Chuck McClure. We talked to the two of them. They had podium finishes first and second in the All-Star Open. We're going to get to talk with them again as we head into our FRN post-race wind down. Again, not a whole lot of harping on everybody's positioning there because it was a non-points all-star race. There was no championship hanging in the balance, no playoff spot. It was basically you finish where you finish, and if you got P1, you were locked into the next 2 seasons all-star races, which Brian Schilling was able to do.
My heart right now, I'm heartbroken, honestly, because, as much as we saw Supa and Jeremy, I mean, Supa had that hard head. He came back up there. He was running good. You had Grant up there. You had Jeremy up there. But honestly, I don't mean any disrespect to any other driver, but doggone. It's heartbreaking to see Doug Hewlett. Doug Hewlett right there in the mix, and the 3 wide happened, and then he got shuffled out, and then the wreck happened and whatnot. Jeez, I mean, I feel bad for him, but like we said, this is just an exhibition race. He'll be back Thursday to race, and moving on from there. But that's one driver that I feel really bad for is Doug Hewlett's luck on that one.
Strong showing for him here tonight, even though in the final results for the All-Star race, it doesn't indicate that. You're right. Up in the top 5 all night in the All-Star race after transferring in 3rd place in the All-Star Open. Also kind of interesting, Jeremy Jeffries and Grant Wesley, they were the two that made the contact that brought that final caution, the two drivers that are in possession of those golden horseshoes. So they may need to polish them up here the next couple of days in preparation for the Super
No,
Speedway All-Star race.
Someone might have the real one, and someone might have the duplicate one.
You
Because
think
remember,
that they've
Grant
been
said,
heisted?
well, you remember Grant said that he gave Jeremy a duplicate one at the Xfinity race
Right.
where Jeremy won the race from Grant before Grant. I mean, and I'm wondering, I wonder if the duplicate or the real one, and we'll figure that out. Maybe Schilling took her, because remember what I was saying before we went back to green about Schilling and Schilling Motors and all.
Mm-hmm.
The point being, remember when Schilling won the Thursday championship? He was on a roll. Maybe that's where the golden horseshoe wound up.
Maybe. We're gonna have to do some detective work here the next couple of days.
To point something out real quick, Ryan was at the back 90% of this race, or at least 85 to 90% of this race, and he wasn't really, up there at top 5 until
got through a couple of those early wrecks.
The later half, and all of a sudden there he was.
Yep, made the right call. Well, let's see if we can dial up our podium finishers here tonight. We talked to him earlier after he won the All-Star Open to lock himself into tonight's main event, and he finishes out solidly with another podium finish, third place in the All-Star race. Let's dial up Chuck McClure.
User was moved.
Hey, Chuck,
to
it's
your
Justin Seth
channel.
up here in the FRM booth again. You got us?
Hey guys.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, seemed like an entirely different race here for the All-Star race as opposed to the Open that you won earlier on tonight. But man, you adapted pretty quickly. The 17 was still strong, even though we had the extra times wear, we had the additional laps, a little bit of extra carnage there as well to have to deal with. What kind of an adventure were you on here tonight from the drop of the green flag?
That was a blast, and I qualified 13th, 14th. That's not good against all these guys. I just tried to settle in and learn from them, and then I thought, well, we'll just see if these tires and fuel how we can beat them up. And I made my way up through there a little bit, but everybody was getting pretty tight there toward the end.
Did you feel? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if did you feel any difference between the 2 times wear and the 3 times wear in terms of how the truck drove?
It felt the same, but it was more surprising because like the 3 times, all of a sudden it won't turn when before it was gradually going away and you could prepare yourself for that. But the 3 times, it all of a sudden it was gone. It's like, oh no.
Well, Chuck, it was interesting. I mean, you remember we saw you in the Open? You were at the back. You stayed at the back for quite a bit. Then all of a sudden you were at the front. Same scenario pretty much to begin with. You were at the back, and by the second caution, you were right there in the top 5. But at the end of this race, Schilling took 2 tires. Did that come into an idea for you that you might want to take 2 tires, or did you automatically say I'm taking 4 no matter what?
No way I was taking 2. I'm not that good of a driver. I'm not in Schilling's category to be able to do that with 2. I thought he was a sitting duck, even as good as he is, but he pulled it off. He was doing some good blocking, some clean blocks, and congratulations to the 4. Awesome job.
Obviously, Auto Club or California, its sister track Michigan, tracks that we talk all about momentum. We saw a lot of slicing and dicing here tonight, a lot of crossovers out of the corner, a lot of hard drive-ins into the corner, some slide jobs as well. How difficult was it to be able to maneuver your way through traffic with all that going on and still keep your momentum going forward?
Well, first off, I just kept telling myself these guys are here for a reason, and they proved it tonight by their driving. There was many more near misses than there was accidents. So, yeah, it got my attention, but I knew what I had in front of me and what they would do. I'm used to racing around some of them, so yeah, I wasn't surprised to see all those good moves.
Well, Chuck, congratulations on the great evening overall. You got that victory in the All-Star Open to lock yourself in. You follow it up with a third place performance here tonight in the All-Star race. One more time, we hand the mic over to you for thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
First off, Race LM, they're awesome. We wouldn't be here without them. They sponsor my car on Thursday nights. Can't beat them. They're the best. and Jeremy, and for putting all this on, and Prime and Bones and Josh, all the admins at RTG, and again, congratulations to Brian. And Rodney didn't paint this particular truck, but he paints all my other trucks, and I really appreciate what he does for me. And I feel bad about maybe making things hard on him, get him to pass me there that last lap, but maybe we can forget about it soon. But and of course, you guys at FRN, this is always a blast to watch you guys broadcast.
Well, we had a blast up here in the booth watching you guys out there, especially that final run to the checkers. Chuck McClure brings it home third place here tonight in the All-Star Race Speedway style. We look forward to seeing what you're able to do. We know you're already locked into the Super Speedway style All-Star Race on Thursday night, so best of luck there.
I appreciate it, guys.
Chuck McClure
User
with
was moved
back-to-back
out of your
podiums
channel.
between the Open and the All-Star Race. Same can be said for the driver we're getting ready to dial up. Back-to-back second-place finishes here tonight for Dante Ricky.
Insane.
Was moved to your
Dante, Justin
channel.
Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Not again.
Ah, man. Bridesmaid 2 races in a row. The first race, it's fuel. This one, it's tires. Now, I made an observation with that wreck taking place off of turn 1 into turn 2. You had nobody behind you down the back straightaway. Was that the difference into you not being able to get a run on Schilling to have a chance at this, or was it the fact that he had the clean air on the nose?
Boy, Seth, I've been self-reflecting all the last 10 minutes, and to put it bluntly, I think the first contributing factor was the damage I got on that caution early in the race when Grant Wesley got hooked around. I did get a little bit of damage. It took about 5 seconds to repair it, but we recovered nicely. When the yellow came out around lap 55, I knew that we were in basically the same situation if we had pitted. So we were kind of hoping there would be, or it was 42. Either way, that yellow comes out. I pit, that puts the fuel in exactly the same spot it was in the first race. I'm like, why do we have to do this again? What's going on here? But either way, we get into that strategy. We race hard. Chuck gets to a point where he's comfortable, pushes hard. So you're absolutely right from what you said earlier tonight. The people in the Open did get an edge because of the timing of one of those cautions. The difference was it really didn't matter. That's the difference. But to say the least here on the last lap, in fact, the last 5 laps, if you go back and just look at the progression of the last 5 laps of the race, it was literally every man for themselves. I was trying to get myself in a position with a hold, strategize what I was going to do based on the cars around. And yeah, I kind of pulled a block there that was not smart at the end of the race. But I'll tell you what, it was very clear that nobody, Seth, Jessica, nobody was going to help Dante win that race. Everyone was trying to pull out, make a move for himself in clean air. So what I did, being that this is a race of pretty much win benefit at all, that's why I was aggressive with the block. Had I won the race, the win's probably coming back because it's clearly not the right move to make in any race here. And, Jeremy and I chatted. I feel bad for him. I really do. But let alone we both understand the circumstances, and that's the way things go. And I got to give him a shout out. He definitely drove a heck of a race. He had the better track position out of the last pit stop. And I knew Jeremy, Chuck, and couple other people on the inside were kind of more of a free position to make the moves they wanted to on the final restart, considering we had 2 people on 2 tires up front, and I just didn't have any real run the entire sequence to get Brian Schilling, and that's the truth. I think the damage early in the race was more or less the cut deciding factor, but that's the way these go, and it was a lot of fun. Good race, good win to Brian, good race to Jeremy and everyone.
Okay, Seth, I got something to ask you real quick while we got Dante here for a
Okay.
moment. Did you ever see Hook with Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams?
Yes.
But you have seen it, Dante?
Yes, I have.
Well, okay, real quick. Remember Smee when he's
Uh-huh.
looking at Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams as Peter trying to go through his stuff, his checkbook and all like that, and show proof and whatnot. I'm going to say the same thing to you that Smee told him. What are you trying to do? Run us out of a job? I mean, you can't ever ask him anything because he covers everything, Seth. Well, we might as well just pack our freaking bags.
I enjoy your questions. I
What questions when you answer everything?
I know, but I reflect a lot in the few minutes before I come in, and
Okay,
more or less, maybe next time.
He reflects a lot in a few minutes. I wonder what we can give him in a half an hour. Gee.
Next
still
time,
got a question for
I'll
you.
go get a snack. I'll step away, and then I'll come back.
No, I
That's
still
what
got
we'll
a
do next
question
time.
for you.
All right.
I got one for him.
Okay, go ahead. You do yours
I
first.
I just had to mess with him. So Dante, I actually got two questions. We were talking about what's showing, and you at the very end of that, going head to head at that point. If you had any chance, would you have made the move on the bottom or the high side of showing? Like, where did you feel comfortable that your car would or your truck would stick compared to where
Well,
showing was running if you could have?
if I was going to do it on the top, I would have needed help. And personally, I think that I would have had to make that move with at least 2 laps to go to even have a legitimate chance, considering the way the runs were coming. I don't think a last lap pass was really going to be the plan anyhow. But if I was to go on the bottom, I could probably do it myself over a lap. If I was to go on top, I would need a little help, and that's where Seth's point kind of comes back in.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to ask the same question somewhat I asked Chuck with a little bit of a different twist to it. The 2 tires that Shilling took compared to your 4 tires.
Yep.
Chuck said he there was never a doubt in his mind he was going to take 4 tires no matter what. With you took 4 tires. Do you think you should have taken 2 at that point? And with the amount of laps that you had left, which wasn't even a lot, going back at restart, do you think 2 tires would have wore out the same amount as 4 tires, or do you think 4 tires was the way to go no matter what?
Well, I thought about it, Jessica, and the concern I had was how hard I drove in the initial run prior. Now, with the way Chuck drove, I mean, he had to. Look at how he drove on that restart from 42 to the caution on 55. He turned the gas pedal on. I mean, when he realized that he had enough to make it, he went, and that kind of set for him. I started to turn the aggression up and follow as well. I thought about it; it crossed my mind, but I also felt like that I would be kind of a sitting duck if I had done it. But part of me also thinks that if we had a couple less laps, that I think a few of them would have tried to stay out too. But
Are,
the timing made it interesting.
are you going to be able to show up for Thursday? I just have to ask that real quick.
Unfortunately, I have been asked to cover weather, and I will not be here Thursday. So I apologize for that. I know I'm an automatic lock from 2022, but I'm just not going to be able to do it. I'm torn to pieces about that. But that's the way life goes, and work has to come first, especially with the weather pattern we have these days. It's quite active, and this is a this is an interesting year to come in weather.
Well, to segue into that, the final run to the checkers was a bit of a storm. This track, Michigan, any track that's a 2 mile speedway, the larger speedways, the big word that we always talk about is momentum. I asked this question of Chuck, and I want to go back to a move you made. I think it was coming to 2 to go. You shot up the middle, 3 wide. I don't know
Yes.
how nervous you were. I was nervous for you. But in that type of a moment where you have to take every run that is offered to you, we saw here tonight, especially as we got closer towards the end of the race, not a lot of room was given. That kind of a move right there, did you think it was going to work, or was it just a kind of we'll wait and see? Because
Well,
you have to take the momentum when you got it.
I can't tell you everything, but the way Jeff Zupta and I raced tonight was very good. There were times that he knows that I can't visually check to see if I've got a lane open when I'm on his inside, he's on the outside. I can't visually check to see how far up the track he goes, so I have to stay down. That allows him to pull down a little bit. Well, it just so turns out I was completely behind him off of 2, and I saw that he went to the wall. The middle was open, and I was still on the outside of Jeremy. It was somewhat a strategic move to benefit myself, and it was a very risky one. But I mean, there were a couple of things going on there, but you have to be real careful, cautious, and real precise with moves like that. And I'm sure it made it look like good television. For me, it was a rush of a lot of a lot of blood going to my head through that one.
Well,
Nah, a lot of that Wawa and that cheap stuff.
Oh yeah, Wawa is the best. You got to go to Wawa for forever. Okay.
well, it eventually moved you up into that second position where you end up finishing here tonight. A solid night overall as well. Great showing, saving enough fuel to get to the checkered flag in the open, and then almost being able to pull off that victory with the 4 tire strategy here in the All-Star race. Dante, congratulations on the great performance overall here tonight. Before we let you go, though, once again, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yes, this one goes to all of my friends and family who cheer me on and just do a great job with everything, and absolutely miss everyone in New Jersey, that's for sure. But Just our league, David Cannon and Sean Prime, our owners, are putting this on every single night, every week. It's really incredible that we've been able to do this for as long as we have, over 20 years now, and this game is still strong. I absolutely must give a thank you to Race LM and Brian and everyone that's continuing to provide us our race service. This is a big deal, and we're going strong at this point in time, and we really, really appreciate your support. I know this is the month where the league usually has a few more expenses. Some of them are big. So I really want to thank all the folks at Race LM for keeping this going, and also the drivers each and every night to come out. Yeah, the emotions are high. We get a little upset. We get into bad spots, and we all yell and scream. But hey, I mean, the reality of it is we have to get along because there's not many more people that are gonna come in this late in the going. So just appreciate all the support, all the viewers, and hope we'll be able to do this again sometime.
Well, Dante Ricky brings it home second place here in the 2024 Speedway style All-Star race. Congratulations on the great run here tonight, Dante.
Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Seth. This was really good, and who would have thought that I'd be in both interviews? That's kind of an
Absolutely.
achievement.
Back-to-back podium finishes here tonight between the
Buddy was moved
qualifier
out of your channel.
and the main event. All right, it's time to figure it out and ask the guy that was able to pull off the heist here tonight on pit strategy. Let's go down to victory lane and dial up our All-Star Race winner, Brian Schilling.
User was moved
Hey, Brian,
to your
Justin
channel.
Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yep.
Okay. Well, everybody is clamoring to know you went with the strategy of only right sides on that final pit stop. You and one other driver were the only two to go with that strategy. Everybody else, we even just talked moments ago here with Dante and Chuck. They said, nope, no doubt in our minds. We were going to go with 4. We weren't even going to take 2 tires. You end up winning this race. The other driver that took 2 tires finished back in 9th. How did you pull this off?
Clean air, and we ran this track with this mod earlier on Wednesdays, and I did the same exact strategy and ended up stealing a win. Just it was a late yellow. I needed track position. I got out front. I ended up having another yellow that ended the race. So I'm like, I didn't feel like I was the quickest guy tonight. So tried doing a little off strategy, and it thankfully paid off.
You answered the question that I was just about to ask in terms of was there anything from this race that you saw that indicated that the right sides would work with having that prior experience of being able to have the right side strategy at this racetrack, also in a truck. Obviously, that would have been something you would have gone back to. So, well done to you going back and adhering to that playbook and pulling it off 2 times in a row. But let's talk about the course of this race. You didn't exactly have the best in terms of qualifying effort. You had to pass a lot of trucks here tonight. The strategy at the end obviously worked out, but there were a couple of times, a couple of wrecks, especially I think the first 2 cautions, you were in the vicinity, but were able to make your way through. Not a whole lot of room being given out there on the racetrack, despite the fact there's about 4 lanes. How difficult was it to make your way through the field here tonight? Because Jess and I documented it. It seemed like everybody had somebody to race, whether it were double wide or 3 wide, all the way through the field all night.
Oh yeah, it was definitely. I managed to get my way up to like 6th or 7th, and it just you get those guys running side by side, and there was a few places you could go. I wasn't ready to push the issue yet, but it was just everything was stacked up. So if you pick the wrong lane, whatever one had momentum, you'd lose a spot here, maybe gain a spot, lose 2 spots. So it just turned into, I'm going to roll the dice and, go for the 2 tires because, track position here seems to be king.
Oh, is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay, I was just wondering when. So, couple things, Brian. First off, congratulations on getting the All-Star race. And so, you win 2 tire call up at the front really late in this race. Were you just riding in the back on purpose just to see how things would shake out, knowing how the open went? And knowing what was at stake that they would get a little bit too aggressive and just make you move at the end, or was it really very difficult? I mean, you said track position was king tonight, but I mean, were you back there by choice because you didn't qualify?
Yeah, that was a decision after I seen where I was gonna be. I did log a lap or 2 laps, but I'm like, I feel like I'm in more control starting in the back, and I can avoid those wrecks if they happen, and have a little bit more control of my own destiny instead of being right in the middle of it and hoping that my luck will
Well,
get me through it.
well, at that one point, I did mention the South, and that's bringing up my next point with you saying that you can control your own destiny at that point. I mean, it was Bob Dixon. There was that wreck that happened in front of you, and Bob slowed. I don't remember where he was running at speed-wise, but he went from 20 to 30 miles an hour trying to hit the brakes, trying to make sure he didn't run into you, but he still slammed into you. You had perfect control after being hit that hard. I mean, how is that? I mean, you get to a track that's not a super speedway. It's times 3 wear. We've seen the back end kick out on a few of these drivers. They hit the apron, the back end kicks out a little touch. They back it out, and you were able to be in complete control. Is it really really difficult to control your vehicle at this type of a track with this type of wear at all?
Sometimes yes.
Because
At
that was
that
going
point,
to a corner.
yeah, at that point I was on the brakes though, checking up for it, so it was fairly locked down. I mean, even if I got a little squirrely, just being on the brakes, I think it would have corrected itself. But yeah, I mean, same thing. It just the right thing happened there. Kept it pointed straight. You know, you sit there as you're slowing down. You kind of have that expectation in your head too that somebody might get in the back of you. So you're just doing what you can to keep it straight. And yeah, that one worked out too.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you specifically, and I'm going to touch on a separate thing at the same time, Seth, because I know where you're wanting to run your mouth about it, because I'm going to go ahead and bring it up and let Brian blame me.
Okay.
Um,
How'd you know I was
so
going to bring it up?
we Seth, I have known you for over 10 years, hush.
Fair.
But Brian, we had a nice little conversation about how we were jinxing everyone left and right up here in the commentators booth, and I we were talking about that golden horseshoe that Grant and Jeremy had, and we were messing around so much they were back there, and I mentioned before we went back to green on them, you guys were pitting. I said, yeah, look at Schilling. He's up near the front now. Those Schilling motors, the Brian Schilling look, because you know how well you did it. The Tally Challenge a few seasons back, and all those like consistencies, and all of a sudden you kind of backed off. Grant started doing this, and Jeremy started doing that automatically with their winning. She was like, we would go back to that golden horseshoe. You think it's that golden D on your thing? You just have a line like hooking the golden horseshoe pieces together, make it look like a D. Do you have the golden horseshoe? Is that where it is?
I wish I did, to be honest with you. After last week, or actually the last 2 weeks, running third at Talladega and blowing up under yellow, pretty much sealed my championship hopes at that point. But it's nice every once in a while to have something go my way here, especially after you have a couple bad weeks. This is actually the first All-Star race of any sorts that I've won, so I feel, even with all the downs I've had lately, this is amazing to win this.
So you crossed that off your checklist. Are you going after the plate one, or are you comfortable and to relax right now?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I always love winning. I mean, it'd be great to double down on the plate one, but that's a whole nother list of very very good drivers, and it's definitely going to be tough.
she also didn't quite touch on this, so I'm going to touch on it. She mentioned the shilling motors, and we saw your team have to push you the rest of the way into victory lane there. But hey, you'd already taken the
Yeah,
checkered
you, you,
flag, so
you, you, you did that. I didn't say a single word. I left that out as a respect. No,
you
you
know,
had to bring that up.
yeah, I had to bring it up, But hey, he gets the checkered flag. You win the All-Star race. You're locked into the All-Star race now for the next, I believe, 2 seasons or 3 seasons. I think it's the next 2 seasons. So load off your mind there as well. And then you got another All-Star race to shoot for on Thursday night. We know you're already locked into that one. So Brian, we'll let you get back to your celebrating. We saw that really long burnout. Obviously, the excitement showing there after you took that checkered flag here tonight. But first, before we let you do that, we're going to give you the opportunity for victory lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yes, first, thank you to Race LM. If we didn't have this platform to be able to still get on and race each other, this wouldn't be happening. So thank you again. Chuck McClure, awesome job. Raced your way in, got a third place finish out of it. So awesome to see. Thank you, Sean Prime and Wiley for admitting, being the eye in the sky. Sean, I know you want to be out on the track. I wish you would have been out. We're able to be out on the track to race too. And thank you, admins, everybody that comes out for putting this on. Jeremy's put in a ton of work on the All-Star stuff. Jason, thanks for the logos. Also, and thank you for the broadcasts. Always fun to go back and watch them afterwards, which I'll definitely be doing tomorrow.
Well, a great run for you here this evening, taking home that All-Star race victory. Great strategy call, put you in victory lane. Brian, thank you once again for talking with us. Go and enjoy this All-Star race victory, and maybe we'll get to talk to you, maybe be a two-time All-Star race winner here in 2024 on Thursday night.
Thank you.
User was
Brian
moved
Schilling
out
with
of
the
your
victory
channel.
here tonight, and what a night overall. I mean, it kicked right off with the All-Star Open. We ended up being told that it was going to be 5 drivers transferring in when we originally thought 3, so it made it a lot more exciting in terms of the aggressive racing inside of the top 5. Then it comes down to fuel strategy. Your top 2 can't make it. Some other drivers peek their way up into the top 5 and transfer in. And then we get to this race, and it was just nonstop, double wide, 3 wide, all the way through the field, and that strategy call at the end. And out of all that, you talked about it, Jess. Wild race here tonight, but then we do it all over again on Thursday night, super speedway style, where it's going to be even more hectic.
Yeah, and the difference between this and the super speedway is that it's going to be all out. And I still am wondering if they're going to do ×3 wherever there or ×4. I have no idea. I don't know. Do you have any clue yet?
I do. Both the All-Star Open and the All-Star Race are going to be 2 times where, but this is going to be interesting because tonight we only had one mod that was featured. We had the CWS 2015 trucks. On Thursday night, in order to qualify your way in the All-Star Open, you're going to have to do so in an Xfinity car. And then, for old time's sake, we're bringing out the NCTS 09 mod for the All-Star Race.
I thought you said it was Aero 88. Are you okay? So okay. Back up. What mod for Xfinity?
Xfinity's going to be the NXS 20.
Okay, so the updated one.
Yep.
And the other one is going to be what?
The NCTS 09 mod.
So I have a question. Was the Xfinity mod going to be Cup Physics or GNS?
It is CTS Physics.
Okay, I had to figure that one out.
I'm pretty
because
sure
you said that.
the NXS 20 CTS was the mod they used for Speed Freaks this
Yeah.
past season on Tuesday nights.
Now, with that being said, that hitbox, it's going to be a little bit different, Seth, and especially how it's going to feel. I mean, the feeling of the Xfinity mod, I will say this, even though I love the truck mod, the DWS 2015, and preferably the NCTS 09, I'm more, you know me, I'm more Gen 6 though, but I honestly think we're going to see really great racing out of that Xfinity for the Open. I don't know if we're going to get top 3 or top 5 based on, I guess, whoever shows up. But Seth, if we saw something good tonight, I can't wait to see what we're going to see in the Open because we're talking super speedway. We're talking about all out. It doesn't matter about specific people. Yeah, so I'm not trying to put anyone down, but certain people, they don't like speedways, they don't like short tracks, they like road courses.
Right.
They're they have to back off. Their settings aren't really familiar this way or that way. They're just having it off with their steering assistants or whatever the cause may be for their setups and how they feel when they race on a speedway or less. But plate track, all out, no worries, perfectly fun, all the way out, 3, 4 wide at times. We've seen them do it. I mean, I've done it. You've done it. We know how aggressive this is going to get, how competitive it's going to get, and that's just talking about the Open. We're not even talking about the main event, about what Godfrey did. And I'm sorry to bring up Godfrey again, but you guys don't understand. John Godfrey, I don't remember what season it was. He wasn't even a thought in our mind. No offense to him. I mean, he's a great person, great driver, but we weren't even looking at him. There was a incident happened on the backstretch. I think 1 and 2 there was an incident. Then backstretch there was an incident. 3 and 4 there was another incident. Coming off of 4 to the trial there was an incident. There was an incident in the trial. Godfrey automatically out of nowhere the winner. So anything can happen in this situation, especially when it's the All-Star race. It's bragging rights. It's fun. It's exhibition, but there can only be one.
Absolutely right. There's, I believe, 18 drivers that are already locked into the Super Speedway All-Star race. And also, too, we talked about it here tonight. No championship on the line, no points on the line. So that can change the aggression level that a driver is going to approach said race with. You put that factor into a super speedway race on Thursday night in both the open. Well, maybe you race a little
Well,
bit less aggressive in the All Star Open, depending on your positioning, because you want to make sure you at least get to the end for a transfer spot. But when it comes to the All Star race, I think all bets are off.
well, at the same time, I mean, if you think about it, Seth, what did you just say? Compared to each of the other races, compared to this one, they know times do work. They
Correct.
know what
Yeah.
they can do. They race it religiously on Thursdays of the same wear, the same pit window. They know what they got. They ain't really got to worry about fuel strategy or wondering, can I make it or do I do this? They already know if they can and can't make it. They know the limit and everything in between. And I mean, I just, if you have fuel mileage tonight was fun, wait till the aggressiveness and competitive ramp up with people who can make it already and going head to head, 3, 4 wide, several rows deep on the last lap. That's going to be interesting, Seth.
We'll go a little bit more in depth on this on Thursday night, obviously, but just a little bee in your bonnet. Do you think they're going to have to take a little bit more of a period of readjustment back to the NCTS 09 mod after we've run a full season with the Aero 88 cars? Because it's been a while. It's been a while since they've been in those trucks.
Well, technically. Technically, I mean that because before the Aero 88 was the NCTS 09.
Yeah, but it's been a full season. They've had to get used to the
But
Aero
when
88 cars.
when I showed up in this series, Seth, what was it, like 2 years ago? I think when I started racing over here, 2.5, 3 years, something like that.
Something like
No,
that.
I raced what, season
50...
49?
Oh, were you in
49?
the 40s? Okay.
I might have been 40 because it was late in one of the seasons, and I did pretty good that season. And then the following season, I was in the final four, and then the following season, you guys didn't broadcast when I won. But I mean, my point is, during that time, we were in the Main Cup 19 mod.
Right.
Remember?
Yep.
So we've been there. We know it. But back to your question about NCTS 09, I mean, we saw how hard it was. I mean, it's not really hard in a way, but in a sense, we saw the differences that, oh, NCTS 09, cool, whatever. Let's go to Aero 88, okay.
Yeah, we saw a period of
All the
adjustment.
craziness and wildness and chaos that happened at the very beginning of the runs, and then I don't know. I mean, things might be more competitive, more calmed down because to me, personally, the trucks, don't matter which version it is, they're just more stable to me. So we're going to be seeing a lot more aggressiveness and a lot more clean fun racing, I think.
It's gonna be fun to watch, just like tonight's race was entertaining from start to finish in both the events we had here tonight, the qualifying race and the main event all-star race. We hope you guys enjoyed our coverage here this evening. Again, Thursday night. It's Super Speedway style All-Star Racing. The All-Star Open kicks things off. Green flag at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The All-Star Race will then follow, probably somewhere around the 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, although it will depend on the length that the All-Star Open runs. But hopefully you'll join us for both events so you won't have to worry about the timing of when the green flag flies for the big show. Just a wild one here tonight. An exciting race from start to finish. Kept us guessing at the end of both of these events here tonight, but I appreciate you joining me up here in the booth this evening.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, when we're here on Thursday as well, hopefully. And I mean, I am a former Open winner. I think I won a segment 2 Open one time, if you remember that.
I do
and
remember that. Yep.
that one beautiful FRN painted Mark Martin throwback type scheme. But I will say this. I'd rather be in the broadcast booth than racing down there where it's going to be hectic. It's just going to be all hectic. And, I'd rather just be a little bit calmer up here looking at the beautiful little trucks and Xfinity cars going around and around and around, realizing I have nothing to worry about.
It's safe.
I don't have to.
And Dante's promised us cookies.
Yeah, about that. I forgot all about that. We got to take care of that later, don't we?
Yeah, I'll let you take care of that one.
But yeah, overall stuff. I mean, based on being a driver versus a broadcaster, a commentator, it's hard to say because you want to get in there because you know what you would do, what you should do, and whatnot. But at the same time, it's always nice to sit up here and get a bird's eye view of what will happen, what you think will happen, to see how well you know not just these drivers, but the game, the track, the thought process, and everything. It's really wild. And if anyone's ever wondered, broadcasting, it opens up a lot more, a lot of thought processes that you probably were never thinking before regarding racing. And I enjoy doing it with you, Seth, every single time.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to when we're going to be getting back in the booth here on Thursday night. Hope everybody will join us for that. But until then, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Congratulations once again to Brian Schilling. He is the 2024 Rolling Thunder Gaming All-Star Race Speedway style winner. And we look forward to seeing who's going to get the Super Speedway All-Star win in a few days. For Jessica Shelton, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for joining us here on FRN tonight, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.